Hey, Patriots fans, if you want to see Toyota's best offers, including those not seen on TV, go to buyatoyota.com. It's Toyota's official website for deals from the official vehicle of the New England Patriots. Toyota, let's go places.
Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
This Friday, Apple TV Plus is
Plus
dropping.
Plus it up, Freddie.
Is dropping Patriots Dynasty, the Dynasty. We did get a sneak peek, and I'm telling you, you're going to like it. It's going to be Patriots porn.
That was my favorite part of watching, was just when Paul would point out, there's my head.
Here's me.
There's me, right there.
Right.
There's me.
Right.
I'm an egomaniac. I pointed out every time I was saying. So instead of giving him forward progress, they gave it to him where they actually took him down.
Yeah. No, but he disengaged. Can't give him forward progress if he's not being tackled. No, you can't.
If he got, let me ask you something. If that was the plane of the goal line, would it have been a touchdown?
If he crosses
no
the
further
plane.
questions. I understand
Come
it's different
on,
at the
you're
goal
better
line.
than
that
that,
was
Paul.
an
You're
don't
better
do,
than
don't
that,
do
Paul.
that. You know that sends me into orbit. Don't do that.
Paul.
Be better.
Yes, it was an
Be better.
Yes, I gave you an intentional Andy Hart hyperbole, but do not tell me to be better. I'm not better.
I'd like to take a moment to remind everyone that Andy called Mahomes a soccer player multiple times during that year's draft show. Yes.
Clap.
Yeah.
Soccer player.
Well done.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Thursday here at Gillette Stadium, and
It's off season now, Fred.
It's off
there's-
season.
We can't even talk about the Super Bowl anymore. We're into the void of the off season.
it's
now.
Deuce, it's Alex. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I didn't know if you were still with us.
Well, I ran out of PTO, so what am I going to do?
She took all four of them.
Evan's here.
Hello.
Paul's here. Matt's in the booth.
I feel like
and
I'm seeing a ghost. So
we're talking
No.
Patriots.
Tan
Not with that
ghost,
tan.
Not a pale
Yeah.
ghost, right? Thank you.
We're talking Patriots for the next 2 hours and whatever else comes to mind. But I was just walking around today, and they're redoing the whole coaching area, like all construction. It's like major renovation down there.
You're walking around the coaching area, were you,
Just
Freddie?
going through the
Good for
coaching
you.
area.
Yeah.
Did you get
Good for
hands on
you.
a playbook
changing
or
the
anything?
culture,
Yeah.
No playbooks. But
building silos.
yeah, there's a lot of.
What is it?
They're
tearing
doing a
down.
lot
Tearing
of
down the
We're tearing them down.
refurb
Building bridges.
while the players are out and to get ready for the 2024 season.
Really worried about the important things.
Yeah.
To watch out.
Feng shui is
Evan's on
important.
edge right now. Evan's on edge,
true.
generally
What's
speaking.
wrong with him?
I'll let him speak for himself. But
What's the matter? Jersey Mike's closed again?
Yes, on the snow day,
I know.
it did.
I
and
know
I
they
was
were closed.
I was really upset about that. I was like, there's like
The snow day there wasn't.
I was like, there's 2 inches of snow, Jersey Mike's. Come back to
I
me.
know.
Come on. What are you doing?
the poor people that didn't get to work that day. Like there are people that nope, don't come in. People need money, paychecks, and well, oh, God.
I was trying
might
to
be an inch
place
of
my
snow.
order on the app, and it said not taking any orders, and I was like, why?
Well, at least that's a courtesy. They didn't take the order and then just burn it.
That's true.
Pizza
Yeah,
time
that-
was open.
That
Yeah.
happened
Yeah.
to.
Of course, Pizza Time was open. They're
Yeah.
great.
That happened to Bob.
Yeah, that's what he told me.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
Bob
Yeah.
put in an order and
Yeah.
they
They just.
received the order.
Just went into the.
They took his
It's
money.
You know how to take the. You just don't know
yeah.
how to keep the
Right,
resume.
but no
Right.
sandwich. No
Right.
sandwich was produced.
Yeah.
So what else is bothering you, Evan?
Well, we did this on Catch. I mean, what else? I mean,
Air
there's
out the
things always.
grievances.
You can
fire.
tell it's all simmering under the surface right
Yeah.
now with him. He's doing his best to hold it in.
We did this on Catch 22, so I don't I don't want to completely go on the rant again, but I've been really bothered up until yesterday when we heard from Alex Van Pelt. Finally, somebody actually talking about football around here and not talking about silos and bridges and culture and
This guy.
what? Can somebody tell me how the 2024 Patriots are going to win a football game?
Okay.
Can somebody tell me
score more
what's
points.
the
You do know it's February.
Yes.
Okay. And
Yes.
they're
And
just
I do know
putting
that-
the staff together.
And I do know that
Okay.
every other head coach
Yeah.
that had an introductory press conference gets up there and tells you what his vision for how he wants to be as a football team. And I'm one of these people that is pretty anti-Dan Campbell, to be honest with you. But at least a couple years ago when the Lions hired him, as much as we all made fun of the kneecaps. and
Fighting
things like-
kneecaps.
he had a real vision of this is how we are going to play football in Detroit. what is Gerard Mayo's vision for this football team? What is the whole organization's vision? Because to be honest with you, the two things that I keep hearing about are how everybody's going to be nicer to each other. You know what I enjoyed? I enjoyed winning. So how are we going to get back to winning and worry less about silos and bridges and like singing Kumbaya together?
Don't forget.
That's it.
Coming in hot.
Okay.
Don't forget collaborative.
Thank you. Collaborative.
So in the case of Dan Campbell,
Yes.
right? Even though it was only temporary, he had been a head coach before, right?
That's true.
Temporarily. Yeah.
And most of these
Interim, I
guys
think
that
is
you're
what they call
talking
it.
about have had some experience running a team before. This guy didn't. I think he's learning on the job. And when he talks about building bridges, he's got some work to do because there was a divide in the locker room, as recently as 2 months ago.
At least Alex Van Pelt yesterday got up there and said, I believe in running the ball.
Okay.
I believe
So
in-
what's the
these
difference
are-
between Alex Van Pelt and Gerard Mayo?
Experience, is that where you're getting at?
Exactly. He's done it before, so
I
he
don't
has
know.
some frame of reference
It
in which to
worries-
draw.
It worries me. It sounds very corporate to me.
I hear you. I
Like
hear
it-
you. And we'll see.
We're a football team.
Listen,
we're
if
not Optum.
if we're still talking about this in May, I'm with you.
That's all I got.
I'm with you, and hopefully, maybe we'll get a sense of the draft, or free agency, even sooner than that. What kind of team they do want to be, by the type of players that they're targeting. But I don't know.
The vision worries me.
This is all
Took
work.
me a lot longer to get you at this spot.
Yeah.
just so you know.
This is all a work in progress.
You got me.
You understand what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying. I'm not as bothered by it
No.
as you.
No, it just. It
But
was
yeah,
the
I
the
understand totally
contrast
what you're
from
saying.
what we've heard from Gerard Mayo this whole time, and then just yesterday, just hearing that 1 minute of Alex Van Pelt, oh, good. I'm glad somebody's talking about football. I'm glad somebody's worried about
I would have
building
preferred
a
it not
football
be
team.
so much run centric.
But at least
But
there's
it was
a
football.
goal. And for all the things that we can say about Bill in the end, I didn't agree with any of the way that he was building the team, but he did have a vision for
Well,
how they wanted to build the team.
Sure, and again, he had also experience. I think Gerard is bringing in people and that he's going to lean on for that vision. In terms of offense, defense. Right now, Gerard is he's occupied with building his coaching staff, which I think is pretty much done now, and then, how am I going to structure this team from a culture standpoint? What am I going to put in place for everybody that is going to match my vision? And that's what he's working on right now. But right now, Alex Van Pelt is in charge of the offense. DeMarcus Covington's in charge of the defense. And as Gerard says, he's hired people who he expects to tell me what to do. These guys they're
I
going
don't
to
like that, Fred. He's the head coach of the team.
no.
It's your vision. It's your team.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
I know, but I agree with you.
Gerard Mayo's not building the offense. And do we want him to? No, we don't.
I was already at this point to an extent because of the whole offensive coordinator search. And my biggest thing with this hire was that I wanted a coach that already knew who his offensive coordinator was going to be. You look at in Atlanta, right? Raheem Morris gets the job. Zach Robinson's the offensive coordinator within 24 hours. You look at in Washington, Cliff Kingsbury backed out on the Raiders to go with Dan Quinn to Washington. I am sure that was communicated beforehand. That wasn't something that just came out of thin air,
Sure.
right? Those are these. Who was
It all
supposed
gets
to,
back to your experience.
It
though.
does. It all gets back to the experience. All these guys.
But that doesn't mean it's good.
No. This is
I digress.
this is the risk,
No, you don't.
and we know it's a
Definitely
risk. If Robert
No,
Kraft,
I understand what
Robert Kraft
Evan's
would admit
concerned about.
it's risk when you hire a guy who's never done it before.
Yeah, but that's not I've seen plenty of guys who've never done it before that come in and explain how they want to do it. I think Evan's a little put off by the fact that we haven't really heard any of that. I hope that he knows how he wants to do it and just hasn't communicated it to the public, which is fine if that's the case. I think Evan might have some concerns that he's not exactly sure how he wants to do it.
I'll bet you he isn't. Unfortunately,
that's not good.
Yeah, well, that's reality.
I just feel like anything he would say, it's just going to be coach speak. It's going to be cliche.
I would rather have coach speak than corporate
You just
speak.
want kind of like some
That's
lip
what I'm
service
saying.
of like,
Yeah.
we're going to go out there, we're going to score more
Yes.
points than the other team, and we're going to do it
No,
because we're
I-
going to be tough and we're going to play smart
But
football.
No, you don't.
I
mean,
feel better now.
You don't have to do the Joe Judge thing, and we're going to have an organization that is going to represent
Yeah.
the area. And
But is there anything that he could say in that
Right.
announcement that would make you say, "Oh, that's a little different"? Like it's going
And
to be
just to play
all the same
devil's
stuff,
advocate,
right?
like if his staff isn't completely assembled yet, how does he necessarily know what the vision's going to be? Sure, he has an
He
idea.
doesn't even
of where
know
he
who
wants
his
to go,
quarterback's
but-
going to be.
I think that's Evan's concern.
Yeah.
But he
The
he
fact
doesn't-
that he doesn't know those things.
He doesn't know those things. He doesn't know who his quarterback is going to be. He doesn't, like there's so much unknown right now, beyond the fact that he has no experience being a head coach before.
Yeah.
Or even a coordinator. So this is what we've got, folks.
Yeah.
And let's hope it works out.
I would just say that
there's a lot of things that I like about Gerard Mayo. I'm not trying to kill him. I'm not. But concern number one happened when they interviewed 50 people for offensive coordinator. And I was just like, oh, no. Like, they don't have a coordinator. They don't know who it is. I would have had concerns about Nick Caley. But if he had just gone and hired Nick Caley, I would have said, yeah, he probably had connected with Nick Caley here, and when he said, when I take over, I want you to be my coordinator. Great. That's what happened with Raheem Morris in Atlanta.
But think about it realistically. A guy who's never been a head coach hiring a guy who's never been an offensive coordinator. What are we doing?
I would have had concerns about that for those exact reasons, but at least I would have been like, that's conviction. Like, you knew who your guy was going to be. And right now, I think Alex Van Pelt, I like a lot of things that he said in that clip. I like a lot of the things that he represents from Cleveland. But I think that was where was Alex Van Pelt on the list?
I will
of
quote
offense?
Ernie Adams. If you're not inside these walls, you don't know.
Yeah, we can talk about
and how
that
do you
too,
know?
because that whole
How do
thing
you
is
know
pissing me
that
off.
how do you know that
the scribe's gonna strike back?
They didn't go through the interview process with all these people to get the information, but Elliot Wolf knew who the offensive coordinator should be.
So here's the thing that I will say, and Elliot Wolf is the one beacon of hope I have in this entire organization right now.
Yeah.
Because that's a man that I think actually knows what he's doing. I think he's done it before. I think he's got connections in the league. I think he knows people. I think people think he's ready for this job, and he has experience in the league. This is not somebody that's been coaching for a couple years and then took over the job. He's been doing it for 20 years.
Yep.
So Elliot Wolf, save us.
And it's clear
Please.
that his stamp is on a lot of these moves, right?
That's the one beacon of hope.
Front
I have.
office ones. Yeah.
I think you're being a little dramatic, and that's fine. This is radio. You don't need to be drama.
I didn't have the show opening like that today.
No, I
It's
know.
okay.
On my
It's
bingo
okay.
card.
You can be dramatic.
He was steaming a little bit, and I was like, "This is a great way just to get into
I
it.
love it.
Let Evan roll. Let Evan cook."
I haven't seen you as
it's been
upset in a
brewing.
while.
It's been brewing.
The last time I saw you this mad is when Alex said that you can't be walking a great day.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the Alex Barth School of Fabricated Drama.
No.
Alex
no.
has a whole school of that.
No, this is not fabricated.
The bartender?
This has been brewing, and I've been telling myself to just give it a chance and let's see what happens.
But
and
It's
the
February.
water's
February
I don't know
15th.
what you expected. You knew.
I expected a plan. I don't think they have
What's
a plan.
the plan?
They haven't had a plan since. Never mind.
I this is what I kind of expected.
That's
You thought
fair.
that they were going to walk away from Bill Belichick and not know what the next step was? Because that's kind of what it seems to me. It was like, okay.
It's different
what?
now, Paul.
Yeah, I do. I think
I
I
thought
think-
they had an
I
idea
think,
of what they wanted to do.
Again, how many other teams when they're changing coaches do it from the best of all time? How many teams when they change their quarterback do it from the best of all
but now-
time?
but now
these
you're-
are monumental seismic
Yeah,
shifts in this organization.
But now you're
Not if you ask
changing. You're
people.
changing the question. Now you're saying like, who expected them to succeed?
I
like-
didn't say that.
No, but like, what's the difference? Who you're replacing? You know you're replacing somebody. Is there a plan to replace them?
Yeah,
It doesn't matter if you. I mean, to your point, you're replacing the best ever coach. Yeah, so it's probably not going to be as good. Absolutely understood.
But that's not my point. That's not
But
my
you
point.
should know what you want to do. If you're going to replace the guy, you should know what you want to do.
I don't think that.
I know they wanted Gerard Mayo to replace him.
Yeah, but
And then what?
But I don't know if they wanted Gerard Mayo to replace him this year. I think the whole plan got accelerated a little bit.
Yes, but my point being it's not it doesn't matter who you're replacing. The caliber of coach you're replacing matters in terms of your performance. Absolutely.
It does,
but not in terms of what you're going to do.
No, I think that you're underestimating the effect of moving on from Bill Belichick had, not just with the Crafts, but players, assistant coaches, and when
meant you had to.
When you're talking about building bridges and all this, you can't, like maybe there was an undercurrent and that caused a lot of rifts in the locker room, but you can't be like planning on offensive coordinators before Bill leaves and not have, perhaps a revolt. You had to be very deft about this, and they. And
you don't think Gerard Mayo could have been thinking in December what he wanted to do?
But he can't be making calls around the league.
You don't make calls. You think about what you want to do.
Okay, but he doesn't know. That's my point.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know.
That's Evan's point.
What's he drawing? And I agree, but I don't see why this is like such a shock.
Okay, but the guy in Seattle, Mike McDonald, like what was his experience?
I have no idea who you're talking
suddenly
about.
we just hired the only first-time coach in the history of
just-
football. I don't
when you
I
go
don't
to-
know
when
why
you go
that's
in-
such a
when
big
you
deal.
go
Again, you're not factoring in who we're moving on from.
I
and
don't
what the,
really
and
understand
what
why
the-
that matters.
and what the situation was. Well, you don't understand, but I'm trying to explain it to you. This is a unique situation that a lot of teams don't have to go through when they make the decision to move on from their coach. This is different. This is a guy who's been here for over 20 years, best of all time. It's not, okay, new coach time.
I don't really understand that.
And you're moving on with a guy who's never done it before.
And Seattle moved on from Pete Carroll with a guy who's never done it before.
And so there's going to be learning. There's going to be learning pains. There's going to be a huge learning curve. There's going to be mistakes made, and what the best he can do is hire good people who he can lean on that can help him, with this transition.
I just look at. I'm going to go to Seattle, and I'm going to tell you, Mike McDonald's 36 years old. He's the youngest head coach in the NFL.
Yeah.
Ryan Grubb is his offensive coordinator, who he just stole from Alabama, and Kalen DeBoer, who he was with in Washington before that. So Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb are like this. They've gone everywhere together, and somehow
who's that person for Gerard that he's done everything with together?
No, he just left that guy. He just left him for Mike McDonald.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And so somehow along the way, Mike McDonald and Ryan Grubb linked up somewhere, and they had a plan that if McDonald got a job, because Grubb was supposed to go to Alabama.
I know, but let's look at McDonald's path, and I'll bet you that he's had more touch points with more people than Gerard Mayo.
Well,
Gerard
why?
Mayo started here and doesn't have any experience anywhere else. College, other teams. This is all he knows.
But why?
That's the point.
It doesn't matter why. That's the fact. That's reality.
But why is it a fact is what I'm asking you.
Because he was hired here out of Empower and never had any other coaching experience. That's why.
Been here for 8 years?
5.
5 years.
Right. And
Five
this is- and this
five
is-
NFL.
This is the only place he's been.
Okay.
That's reality, folks.
I just don't understand what the caliber of the guy he's succeeding has to do with anything. Now, in terms of evaluating his performance, absolutely that matters. You're walking in, you're like,
Right.
you never want to be the guy to replace the guy, the old cliche. I get that. He's going to get more latitude because you got to say, listen, he's replacing Bill Belichick.
I think it could make it tougher on him.
Let's not expect him to go and win 6 Super Bowls. That's not realistic.
You don't think the Bill people are waiting for him to fail?
I have no idea. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
I'll show you.
I think we're trying to figure out why
it's not going to be easy on him.
I think Evan's point was just why does it seem like there's been so much indecision as to what direction they want to try to go from a football perspective, and it's devolved into, well, he doesn't have any experience. I don't really understand how those two are related. The guy has thought about being a head coach. Now, whether he thought it was going to be next year or this year, he's thought about how he wants to coach.
Yeah.
Why is he not? I think to Evan's point, and again, I think Evan's a little bit more, dramatic about it than the rest of us.
I think
Evan's wondering why he doesn't seem to have a vision.
He's told us how he wants to coach in the culture, and what he hasn't told us that everyone is what kind of football, what's their philosophy, what's the type of team they're going to be. He's going to get. That's a work in progress. That part of it, and
That-
it's based on the
that
coach.
scares me.
It shouldn't be a work in progress.
It's based on the coaches that he's hired. It's going to be based on the quarterback if they draft a quarterback. There's a lot of unknowns right now.
Implementing whatever he wants to do should be a work in progress, not what he wants to do.
Well,
Can he succeed in doing it? This is where I get to the Bill Belichick is relevant part. But he should have an idea of what,
But just because he's not sharing it with us, or or that he hasn't
Exactly,
said it, doesn't
which
mean
is
he
what I
has
said
no
at the-
idea what he's
that's
doing.
what I said at the top.
But I think it's just a valid point of what sold you on Alex Van Pelt. Like what made him the guy? Was
Yep.
it that
I
you
think
couldn't get anybody else? Like
that's what-
was he the last man standing?
well, I
And
hope
that's
that
my
he's
point.
sitting.
I think
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing and why people are kind of impatient right now is because you don't know what you don't know, and then maybe you thought it was going to be easy, you were going to make all these hires, but maybe it was less of a desirable job than we initially thought, and I think assembling the coaching staff was probably harder than they thought.
Yeah.
That could be.
I
That could
agree.
be. That's not Jerron
Like,
Mayo's
I-
fault, though.
No, of course not.
And these are the
But
types of
wha-
things that concern me more than the fact that I think he sounds very corporate when he speaks. And like that type of stuff is not here nor there. Like that doesn't necessarily decide whether or not he's going to be a good football coach or not. I think the problem that I see is that a lot of these other, when you go into these interviews for a head coaching job, one of the bigger questions that they ask is who are going to be your coordinators. And you're supposed to have like a short list of like these are the 2 or 3 guys, either because you coached against them, you coached with them, whatever the case may be. A lot of the time it's, well, we played this team the last couple of years and they killed us offensively. Like this guy really knows what he's doing. And so they'll go out and get that guy. I just, that piece of it worries me a lot.
No, well, listen, I'll say something that might even worry you more.
Oh, good.
No. What if
you're supposed to help?
What if Gerard Mayo had a couple guys in mind, couldn't get them,
Yeah.
and then Elliot Wolf says, "Let me take care of it."
That's kind of what Alex was saying about the desirability of the job. That's what started this whole spiral for me.
Yeah.
Is because I think that Zach Robinson was their guy. I think they really wanted Zach Robinson. I think they made a strong push to get Zach Robinson.
And I think Nick Caley was plan B.
It was plan B, and they got neither.
Yeah.
And I think that Zach Robinson was attached to Raheem Morris. Probably when he started to get wind that Atlanta was really serious about Raheem Morris, he said, let me take a step back and see what Raheem
I'm
does.
glad they didn't get Nick Caley. Nothing against him, but I want some experience, and I like the idea of bringing in Ben McAdoo to have even more experience as an advisor. We need people who have done it before. Because
I like the idea of the position that they created for McAdoo. I just don't like that it's McAdoo. Like I would have been much happier if it were like
Or sunshines and rainbows.
Frank
yeah.
Reich or someone who had a modicum of success as a head coach. Didn't like spectacularly fail as a head coach.
No, I know, but we're not asking Ben McAdoo to be the head
No, but I'm
coach.
talking about in that role,
Yeah.
like someone to lean on, whatever. Like I didn't want Josh McDaniels back.
Yeah.
And I love Josh.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yep.
But failed twice. I didn't want him back.
Yeah. So,
There you go.
Yeah.
This is just point number 1. I'll save the
You
point.
have more grievances?
You
Oh,
have
yeah.
more grievances?
I'm just
to
getting
say?
started.
I know
Oh,
it's February 15th, so
I'll say it again. I did not.
No, this is,
I did not see the
this
show
grievance
opening
has
like
nothing
this.
to do with the
Sam in
current
North Carolina
team.
says, I've been feeling the same way as Evan, and I was a big Mayo guy coming in. Mayo has done nothing to make me feel better since day one. He felt like a corporate guy. I felt like he was my boss talking to me about how things will be different than the last boss, but everyone just wants better football. Cut the corporate BS and give us a football coach. So that's
I'm with
and
you.
then he doesn't like Drake May.
is he from North Carolina?
Doesn't have the clutch factor.
Is he from
He's
North Carolina?
From North Carolina.
Shocking.
Everyone in North
Shocking.
Carolina hates Drake
Well,
May.
I mean,
I just
mean-
doesn't that bother you that
Yeah.
everyone from North Carolina
Yes.
doesn't like
So-
Drake May
Yes.
that we
Yes.
talked to?
Not even a
no,
little
because
bit.
I have a million other people that have told me how great he is.
Okay.
So
Are they from North Carolina?
Yes.
Okay.
all right.
Yes.
Well, then
My
it's
buddy Dan, who my Northeastern buddy, said,
Yeah.
and he's a huge Patriots guy.
Boston
loves
Cream
it.
says Evan's having a great hair day. Alex not. I'm sorry, Alex. You're not having a great hair day.
The donut. The donut.
Wow.
The donut coming in hot.
All right.
I
Jeez.
got a haircut yesterday.
Well,
so-
I worked out this morning, so
Go to GNR.
so
Did
sorry.
They give you a
I think I
freebie?
might have to go there.
Yeah. You got
tomorrow,
to tell them who
maybe.
you are.
Oh yeah.
I don't like to.
They'll
play
give you
that
the
card.
shade.
No,
They'll
just,
give you
but
the
you don't
treatment.
have to you don't have to come out and be like, I'm Fred Kirsch. Like you just kind of weave it into the
A
conversation.
little sniff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? You end up getting
Right.
for the bagel?
Yeah. Do I get a discount?
Shave. They'll give you a shave.
Where is this place?
It's right next to
Right here,
Papagino's.
Will they cut you even if
Yeah,
you have no hair
D'Angelo's.
like me? Because
Sure.
I need a little
They'll give you
try.
a try.
I'm getting
Oh, you should
straggling.
tell them that they'll be like, whoa.
Will was like fooling around with the flow, calling it lettuce the other day, the Super Bowl, and
Yeah.
I was like, just go over on the other side, will you please?
Yeah. That's your kitchen. That's what they call it.
It's actually in my kitchen when he
Up
was
in my
doing
kitchen.
it.
I think it's pretty. This is Justin in Orlando. I think it's pretty clear that Mayo is being set up to fail. Can we give the guy any time at all before saying he doesn't know how he wants the team to play? What could he say to alleviate those concerns? Bite off kneecaps? Do your
Yes.
job? We're being ridiculous, and I care much more about the lack of clarity in the front office than the lack of a stated
There is no
style
lack-
of play from the head coach.
There's no lack of clarity in the front office. Elliot Wolf is the de facto general manager of the Patriots.
With Alonzo
And,
Highsmith.
and there's been
is-
no football talk, period. It's not about like biting kneecaps.
No.
There's been nothing spoken in
No.
that I think that's Evan's point. Now again, it doesn't bother me as much as it obviously bothers Evan, but that's kind of a fact. I've never really heard a guy at an introductory press conference not talk about his football philosophy,
Right. And he was
whether
given
it's
opportunities
cliche-ridden
to-
or not.
Well, I don't remember but at his introductory press conference with the media, did anyone ask that specific, like, what's your football philosophy? I don't remember.
No, I've been waiting
No.
for us to get him on the show so I can be
Right.
the one to ask
So
him.
no, I'm serious. So I hope we have him sitting here and we can ask those questions. Why did you like Alex Van Pelt? Why did you like DeMarcus Covington?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, Fred. I mean, I think we're really talking about just the offense here. I mean, I think his defensive philosophy is going to be the same kind of game plan. You know, we're going to adjust every week
but is
kind of
it?
thing. Like, I mean, I assume, but
Is it going to be
he
aggressive?
hired-
Because I can tell you they had the same defense with different guys running it that were wildly different.
No, that's true. But did they
With
ever tell
Flores
you
and
ahead?
Patri-
Did Flores say we're going to be a lot more
No,
aggressive?
but they weren't in a
before?
position to do so. And Bill doesn't
Bill
tell you
wouldn't.
anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I just think that
So
that's
that's
such a big
kind of
thing.
what I'm talking about.
but it doesn't really behoove.
But I don't know what they're going to do
It behoove
defensively.
again. That's
I
two
just think
behooves and,
it's
like,
such a big
a lot of
thing is that
behoovement.
we're getting sold, and I understand it's early and
Yeah.
we're way overreacting.
It's
I
the
get
behoof.
it. But we're getting sold this like different vibe, right? Like this different culture around the building.
It's like a shell game.
And I feel like it's such a stark contrast. Like Bill was all football, right? Like it's all football, it's all business. Even if you feel like he didn't give you anything, like it was still, we weren't talking about silos,
Raising people up.
and developing people.
Whoa.
and stuff like
Hold on
that.
for a second. Like 2 months ago, we're talking about how Bill doesn't understand the modern athlete and things need to change and you need guys that understand and tell them why and all that. And now he says that's what he's going to do and you don't like it.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, can we have a little bit of both?
Okay.
Like, can we have just a little bit of the other thing?
I personally didn't like the fact that Bill continued to want to try to win games in a way that I don't think is conducive to winning big anymore.
And that's another.
And I don't know if Gerard agrees with that or not.
Yeah.
Well, the
I'd like
offensive
to
coordinator
know.
is saying that running the ball wins championships.
John-
Which
So-
frightens me.
Yeah, me too.
John says Evan's all pissed because the new coach hasn't let Evan know the direction he wants to take the team. I don't remember Bill giving his vision of the team in some press conference, aside from Dan the Douche Campbell, who has done that. This is an honest question.
I can tell you, you go back to Bill's introductory press conference, and he talked about tough football players and being physical on both sides. He did.
Thank you, Paul.
They don't have a complete staff. They should be focused on staff and players now. Then they can make sure Evan approves later. If they have a plan, why the hell would they
There's a
tell
little
us,
tone to
especially
this
before
This
the
is
draft?
a show where we give our opinions, right?
I
So,
like-
I'm just
I
saying,
like
Well,
the-
so they can give their opinions
Correct,
too.
Freddie. That's what I was just going to say. I
Right.
like the tone of this email. I like
Just
it.
because they don't agree with you, Evan, it's
I'm not
okay.
saying they have to agree with me, but like, am I
Good
not?
job,
Should I
email-
not
who's
speak
the
now?
emailer?
Should I just leave? Like, okay.
John.
John, good
No, you
job,
just
John.
continue to
They are
talk.
doing
I'm just
something.
gonna go.
They are doing something they haven't done in over 20 years. Give them a chance. Not only is this new to the coach, it's new to every inch of the organization.
I am giving it a
Good
chance.
point.
I am giving it a chance. I have concerns. Is that not allowed?
Yeah. Okay.
Emailer.
Well, can the
I have
emailer
other
have
concerns too. You want
Can
to
the
hear?
John.
emailer counter you? Is that
No.
okay?
Keep 'em
Feel
No,
free to
not
call
like
back
that.
in, John. Good job.
No, keep them coming.
James Pettigrew, the most interesting Patriots fan of all time, says, I agree with Evan. This has to be the worst offseason of Coach Mayo's career.
See, that was funny.
If you knew James, it's even funnier.
Kevin says,
This is really. I didn't want to go here, honestly.
That's okay.
Sorry, it's
No,
my
You
fault.
didn't want
I
to
feel
go
my
here.
part.
You led with it.
I know. I saw him
I know.
I saw the steam still coming out of it. I thought 2 hours of Catch 22. We would have worked.
We did
would
this
have
for the
worked through
first
some of
30
this
minutes
stuff.
of
Yeah,
Catch
but they
22
went down
also.
to the wire. So.
Kevin in
We
Virginia
always do.
says, I agree with Fred. It is what it is. The process of moving on from Bill has been sloppy, but why? Could it be that the Crafts had to move on from Belichick because Bill tanked the team so badly on the offensive side of the ball that they felt they had to move on to Mayo before they really wanted to? Fred is right. All we can do now is see how it plays out and judge the results, good or bad, after they happen.
That is true. All we can do is,
But for this portion of the
Well,
offseason, this is where we complain.
We can complain. No,
That's,
absolutely.
That's a theory from my shows that I don't necessarily agree with.
What's that?
The
Just
whole
wait.
moving on faster than they had than they thought. Not Felger is a big proponent of this is a year, but I'm not sure of that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of that.
Let's see. Louis says, long-time listener, first-time emailing.
Nice.
I'm listening to the show today, and I'm confused about how the show started. Did something change? Why are we talking about what Mayo said 2 months ago?
We're
Seems
not.
the Patriots have
But
a
I
plan
just
or a
can't tell you
style
any
of
more
offense
than
they want to
that.
play. They are hiring coaches that fit that mold or no. We don't know that. I will say we don't know that. What else would you want him to do at this point? And also, it's not fair to compare his situation because we all know the Patriots roster is terrible. So getting a big time off, I don't know what that means, big time offensive coordinator to come here is much harder than in Washington or Seattle.
Yeah, because
It's much harsher
Why
than
would it be
Washington-
harder than
Washington's
Washington?
loaded.
Yeah, why?
well, they just they're
They got-
loaded.
I mean, they got the
But,
first overall
yeah.
pick.
And
or
Jared in
second
Vermont says, according to Dwight Eisenhower,
Oh.
plans are useless, but planning is essential.
Oh. But everybody has a plan until they
Till you get
punched in the mouth.
That's right.
Or
Nice.
All right.
or in the nose.
M. Tyson.
Good start to the show. 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket Hotline. Web radio at Patriots.com. Welcome back, Alex.
Welcome back, Alex.
I know-
Thank you, guys.
I know
Next
you
time,
missed
do a
this.
little something
know,
with your
come
hair
on, what's
when you
going
come
on
in the
here?
studio.
Oh, you know what's so funny? I was literally texting my hairdresser
That was the
before
oddest
this.
comment
Like
ever.
split
I
ends.
was
mean,
texting
come
my
on.
hairdresser before this too, like, "Hey, any availability for Saturday? Desperately need to come see you guys." Didn't think anyone else had noticed, but I did.
Oh,
but
people noticed.
Damn.
But you notice she put her hair
didn't.
back.
Yeah, I did because I'm self-conscious now. So
The donut.
thanks, guys.
Donut
but
strikes
it's all
again.
good.
My hair
Wow.
looks perfect.
Listen,
now,
I'm on
apparently.
day
You are well
3.
coiffed today.
I
You are.
haven't washed my hair today. I worked out this morning. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
I
man.
I apologize to
I
Now,
you,
did.
now it's just
to you
getting worse.
viewers. I'll be better
You're
in the
making it
future.
worse.
I'm gonna go to
You're
Jana
making the
Rago's
donuts
salon
porn.
this weekend, and we'll be good to go.
Okay.
Nice.
Did you like the Super Bowl? Did you watch?
I did watch. Yeah.
What'd you think?
I was happy to see it was actually like a competitive game down
Yeah.
to the end.
Yeah.
Entertaining. I was glad I had my prediction correctly.
Oh, you did, yeah.
Me and Paul.
Nice job.
Yeah, halftime was pretty solid. But yeah, I mean,
Pretty solid.
Usher.
yeah, it was good, not great.
I said
I'm
it
sure
was-
you guys talked about
I
it.
said-
It started slow for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That I think if he started with the slow jams, but not only that, but it was like a 2-second snippet of the slow jam. So it just took a while for the energy to ramp
Yeah.
up. But then he brought out like Ludacris.
Oh, they
and
brought the roller skates out.
Ludacris, Lil Jon, and Alicia Keys came out, and I was
Paul-
like, okay.
I was
Fred
reading something
Fred
about
really
that girl
liked
that
The girl that
fell.
fell. Yeah,
Well,
we
I
saw
think-
that.
Oh, wait, I saw a TikTok about the girl that fell,
Yeah.
and apparently, like you just when you sign up
Hilarious.
to do acting jobs, you
Yeah.
just like say you're way overqualified, and that's
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of what happened.
That's
to
what
her.
Mr.
So-
Hollywood
like-
explained
yeah,
the whole
she's like
thing
the
to
new
us
left
on
shark,
Tuesday.
Yeah,
right?
me and
New
Deuce are
left
on the
shark?
same side of TikTok, so
So
we saw the
true.
same
you're,
video.
you're up on these
Say hi to
things.
Alex.
Is it true that Taylor Swift had Kanye West kicked out?
I think Kanye himself said that was not true
Oh.
yesterday.
Okay.
I know
Well,
Brandon
yeah,
Marshall.
I believe
was-
everything he says.
I know. Well, I
But
know.
why would he
Who
say
knows
that
if
it
he
wasn't
would
true
even-
if it was?
Because he's Kanye West.
I think he
He's
wasn't
insane.
in a suite though.
But he makes fun of her all the time.
Yeah.
So
I
if
think
it
it
was
was.
Yeah.
I think it was a little bit of maybe like a fabrication or hyperbole that I don't know. You know the game of telephone. I think Brandon Marshall probably jumped the gun on.
Okay. All
but
right.
I don't know.
Okay. And the commercials? Anything stand
Sure, you
out?
guys
for
talked about the Duncan ones.
Yeah, we talked about it. Yep.
I like the Beyonce ones because
Yep.
I'm a Beyonce fan. But other than that, I don't know. I'm just a hater. Like the writing is just bad.
Yeah.
Like it's just
They're too leaning too
nothing-
much on star power,
Yeah,
not
nothing
on creativity.
nothing really moved the needle for me.
Yep.
Nobody
I
jumps
agree.
into like Ben
Very-
Affleck did, though. Those guys jumped right into it. That's what
Did
you
you
Yeah.
see the
Well, that
long
was the
version they
highlight.
had
Very
online
good
yesterday?
review.
Oh, yeah.
highlight.
That was a good review of it.
It was pretty good. That like it was like 4.5 minutes. Like the
You
whole
know what I
thing
love
they
about
put-
it, Paul? We've talked about this before. It's that it's like an extraction of that great moment from Boogie Nights where they're trying to record the record and they're all coked out and they're like the magic that is on that record. You know, just the guys who are so in their own headspace about what their music and their art. Like I think
I thought you were
that's
going to go with the diving
so funny.
competition.
Oh,
Let me
Let me
tell
show you what you
let me
did
show you
wrong.
what you did wrong.
That's one of my favorite scenes though is when they're all trying to convince to get their masters back. But yeah, Boogie Nights.
All right.
Sorry.
855
He's just mumbling.
855 PATS 500 is the Ace Ticket Hotline. Web radio at Patriots.com. Any new hirings?
We never talked about
Yeah.
Dante Hightower
Yeah, exactly.
coming back, which I thought was
We didn't talk
interesting.
about that
We
Tuesday?
didn't talk about it. No, we talked
Another
about Super
beacon of
Bowl.
hope.
Yeah. But I like the guy, too, they brought over from the Ravens. That's Drew Wilkins. That's kind of an interesting one as their outside linebackers guy. I mean, you know,
Didn't they bring a running backs
something.
coach in there for the
Yes.
Jets?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty like a surprise firing, parting
Yeah.
ways with the Jets. Obviously, Breece Hall's been great for them, and they went in a different directions. Been in that Shanahan offense.
He's a good,
Comes
like,
here.
flat
What's his
brim,
name?
dark beard
Embry?
kind of guy.
Tyler Embry
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a good look.
So
Good
are we
coach
just
look.
waiting on wide receiver? Or
Yeah, tight end.
and tight
Tight end,
ends.
right? Yeah.
I mean, they did hire Tyquan Underwood, but it was reported it was an assistant wide receiver coach.
Right.
So they have an assistant wide receiver coach, but they don't have a wide receiver coach.
So I'll bet you.
Troy
I'll
Brown.
bet you.
Run it back with
No,
Troy?
I'm not saying they're going to run it back, but I'll bet you for Kraft, if Gerard wants to move on from Troy, it's a tough one.
Well, it says that says there's a role for him, but they don't necessarily know
Okay.
what.
Yeah,
that
that's
seems
what
like the
Reese
move to
reported.
me is you know he gets scrambled over
Yeah.
to
And Reese
you know,
worked.
I
I
with-
mean,
with
Troy is
on
Mr.
a boat,
Patriot.
so-
assistant
you know?
head coach /
Yeah.
Or
something like that.
returners, maybe.
Yeah,
back to
returners.
special teams.
Okay.
But you got to think Alex Van Pelt's going to want somebody that can teach his offense the way he wants, and is
Yeah.
Troy Brown going to be that guy? I don't. That seems like a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
But how do you convince Hightower? I don't know. Hightower seemed like a guy. Remember, like did he retire? We didn't even know. He just kind of stopped like showing up, and we're like, there was no like real announcement. I think until like
It was like
late
a year
last
later,
year.
at the same time as Devins.
I thought he was done, and then it seemed like he was enjoying living life, getting out of football. And of course the famous thing Gerard said last year, like, oh, when I get my own ship, I'm going to try to bring him in. But I guess somebody told me that Hightower's wife, I guess he gave him like the blessing, which is always the big thing of.
That was me.
It was you. Yeah. So, just to go from hanging out with your wife and just post NFL
Not
career,
just
getting
hanging
healthy,
out.
and
Like,
now
they
it's
were,
like
I
back
felt like
into
they
it.
were on vacation every
Yeah.
week
I
because
got-
I follow
got
him
the
and his wife.
vibe.
They were
I got the
constantly on
vibe that
vacation.
the wife was kind of like, "What are you going to do with
You're
the rest of
annoying
your
me.
life?
Get
Like,
out
you're
of
just
here."
home all the time."
Well, I
Do
know, but,
something?
but if you're going to do there's going to be a lot of hours put in here. It's not
Right.
like
I
your
know.
typical
Right.
job.
Well, Gerard might be
Yeah.
like 5 o'clock. Everybody out, quitting time.
Yeah.
That's how we roll now.
That's what I'm fully anticipating.
Culture.
well, he said
Maybe 6.
Yeah.
Work-life balance.
I did think it was funny. With a lot of these guys are young, sort of up and coming people that not many of us were very familiar with, and it was like, they can't get anybody to come. Like Alex said, maybe these jobs aren't as attractive. And then like Dante Hightower, who's never coached a day in his life, signs on. And it's like, woo! We got Dante Hightower.
Yeah.
And believe me, I love Dante Hightower, but like I'm not necessarily dismissing all these other guys because they don't have any experience. Take them on a case-by-case basis and see who seems like they know what they're doing. But didn't you find that interesting? Like
I did.
People-
all of the reporters all were
It's
like
exciting.
going gaga.
Yeah, no,
when,
I don't
when
know.
Hightower
it's
got
the fan
signed.
side, not the
it's-
analytical coaching
sure,
side.
Yeah.
it's great. You have that connection to the past, but
Yeah.
he's never done it.
Yeah.
And
He's got a veteran group. I mean,
I'm just going by the way
think
everybody
that's
always
the light
explained.
lift.
They always talked about him in that the way that people talked about
Mayo.
Mayo, yeah.
Like
Yep.
he was
Coach
like a
on the
coach on the
field.
field and blah blah. So I'm
High IQ.
definitely using that as the reason why I think.
But Mayo coming out and saying, if I ever run my own ship, I'm going to get Hightower to coach linebackers last year. I mean, that's a pretty big stamp of approval to be like, this guy is
right.
born to
At
be
the
a
time,
coach.
he was completely out of the game
Yeah,
too.
yeah. I think Hightower was. I talked to him for that piece that I did with all the linebackers about Mayo, and I asked him at the end, and he said that it was pretty clear that he could be swayed. Like if Mayo made a really good recruiting pitch, I was like, this could actually happen.
You're gonna come in. You're gonna coach guys.
Yeah.
You'll be here. You'll be working.
But like you said,
free meals.
It's like it's Jawan Bentley. It's probably Jelani Tavai.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's guys that
Raekwon McMillan.
Like how much coaching does Juwan Bentley really need in the system at this point? It's going to be, I saw this little thing, I saw that little thing. You know?
And he's just inside linebackers.
Yeah, sounds like
the
Drew
way it looks,
Wilkins from the Ravens will be the outside linebackers coach. So, yeah.
I like the defensive staff. There you go.
Yeah.
That's something positive.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Scott Peters has some challenging coach fight club now with Hightower, though. I'd probably go Hightower.
I like the Scott Peters hire, too. Like, I watched some of his clinics and things like that, and that's what you want your offensive line coach to look like and sound like. Just somebody that's just going to tear somebody's head off. Like, yes, thank you.
Not building bridges, breaking down silos.
Like, he was doing this thing where he was, like, showing guys, like, technique, and, like, it was, like, a beam in his backyard, and he, like, put, like, a pad up there. It was just, like,
poor Pat.
Punching it, and I was like,
Pat is getting his ass kicked.
This is our guy. This is what I want.
Yeah. No, he's definitely one of the positives. I mean, it's and I mean all the concerns we talked about at the top, but I do think there are some, things to look at that are, interesting. Just how's it all going to come together? I think I'm really waiting for those wide receivers coach, those tight ends. I mean, I think those are important. I mean, those are tight ends. You got no tight ends, so this guy's going to probably have, I'm all for bringing back Henry, but kind of a blank slate at that position.
Nolan in California says, I guess with Van Pelt's plan to run the ball, we're going to need 5 running backs. I hope we get quarterback with the 3rd pick and a good round 2 receiver. With Hightower coming back, do you guys see any more former players come back? I'd love to see Randy Moss come back.
That's not happening.
Just have an alumni,
I don't think, normally I'm on Paul's side of the street with the whole running the ball wins championships thing. But if you're running the ball for the right reasons, then all the good teams run the ball. Like, San Francisco, Detroit, Baltimore, those teams all run the ball well, but it's not running the ball to run the clock and ball control and possession. It's running the ball to set up explosive plays in the passing game, right? So if that's what you mean by this is our foundation, we're going to run the ball, we're going to play action, we're going to hunt big plays, then that's one thing. If you're telling me you're going to run the ball so you can win 17-14, then I'm with Paul.
Well, would it kind of assuage some of your concerns if they just said, look, we want to throw to score and we want to run to win. We want to throw early and often. We want to get points.
See how simple that is,
and then we want to have some tough running backs that'll be able to close things out.
I mean,
I did it. I'm in.
But that's a cliche.
Yeah, no, I know.
Sometimes
I
the
know.
cliches are what you need.
Yeah.
That's
just to make calm the nerves a little.
That was so easy.
What if they just handed you the playbook and they're like, here you go, Evan.
But as much as I hate running the ball, I've never said you can't run the ball. You need to run the ball 20 times a game, ish. Yeah. 15 to 20 times a game. I mean, even the good team. I would not say Kansas City is a running team. Somehow they found a way to win 3 titles in the last 5 years. I mean, you don't have to, quote, run the ball. But that's not like an all or nothing thing. You have to run it sometimes.
Yeah, you got to be a little balanced. You got to be able to
You got to be good inside the 5. You got to be good in short yardage, and you got to be good in the 4-minute offense.
Yeah, close it out.
As you said, to throw the ball to score and run the ball to win.
Yeah.
Although I do think that most teams believe that it's hard to just flip that switch, and then all of a sudden we're going to run. You have to kind of establish it, especially if
those are the teams that I'm not interested in.
Especially
the teams
when
that want to establish it.
Especially when you talk to offensive linemen.
It's just you need to. There's nothing wrong with running the ball. It just has to be for the right reasons. We were arguing about this on Catch 22. Barth brought up, well, it gets cold in the wintertime in New England, so we got to – no. I have no time for that.
That's why I like Drake May. I think he'll hold up in the wintertime here.
Yeah. I mean, do you think,
with his size and his arm strength.
Do you wonder, though, I mean, if they don't really know right now, exactly what they're going to do because they don't really have a quarterback and they don't really have a running back behind Ramondre Stevenson? I wonder how much of the offensive philosophy is still fluid.
I wonder how much of the offense is going to be here when the season starts. Who is our offense?
I don't want to belabor this because we talked about it for most of the show. It's not about what they're actually going to do come September, because that's going to change based on personnel. What do they want to do?
Score points.
How?
Depending on who we have. If we have a great wide receiver, if Marvin Harrison's on our team, I want him to score points.
I'm out. But I'm asking, if you had your druthers, if you had the players that you want to score in the manner that you want, how do you want to play?
I want to have a modern offense with a quarterback who can extend plays if he has to, but can read defenses.
So they might not have the players to do that. Totally understood.
Yeah.
Like they don't even. I mean, they literally don't have a quarterback. I mean, that's not even being
Right.
Andy Hardish.
That's just reality.
They don't have a quarterback.
But these three quarterbacks at the top of the draft, and I get it. Like I'm not asking them to tip their hand on who they like and who they want to
course
take.
not.
But these three quarterbacks at the top of the draft are all stylistically very different.
Yep.
So if you have a vision of this is how we want to play offense, then that fits one quarterback more than it fits the other.
So doesn't it make sense for Alex Van Pelt to just talk about running right now and not talk about the kind of offense they want?
I loved
because that'll tip their hand.
I loved what Alex Van Pelt said.
Yeah.
He's the first person in 2 months that has actually talked about football.
Yeah.
In this organization, perfect.
But to your point, you don't tip your hand on the style of quarterback or offense that you want because,
Right. But I would just.
So now you're mad at him.
No, I'm not.
He did tip his hand in the style of offense he wants to run.
He's talking about running.
Yeah.
He didn't focus on the type of passing game he wants.
Because he wants to run.
You're being difficult.
No,
you know what I'm
not.
talking about.
I watched his offense for the last 4 years, Fred. I know how he wants to play offense because that's exactly how he said he wants to play it in the 1 minute clip we put on Patriots.com
right,
yesterday.
exactly.
Which, by the way, the Boston Globe claimed a video issued by the team.
Well, it was.
It's not the way they said it was not. That really bugs me. They steal the information all the time, claim it as their own, and then they're so dismissive. That paper deserves everything they're getting with John Henry and the Red Sox falling apart. Couldn't wish enough bad things on that paper.
But I think that we're
feisty.
They just steal stuff. You can't say Patriots.com. You can't say that video that appeared on Patriots.com.
Do you know
that's impossible for you?
It's also just funny when we do obviously going back to the podcast with Bill and stuff like that. We do these things and people make such a big deal out of it. We posted a graphic with players on it the other day, and people were tweeting which players were on the graphic.
I know.
It meant something.
Yeah. Right. I know.
And I was
hidden messages.
I promise
Fred,
it doesn't mean anything.
The way it was explained in the Globe story was that.
And you're the only one that still reads the Globe.
No. It was portrayed as they got the video from the Patriots, the Patriots gave it to them,
and said write about it.
As opposed to Patriots.com had a video with Alex Van Pelt talking. We're going to have one today with Covington, right?
I'm not sure.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know.
Right? Yeah.
Secrets.
Insider trading.
Today or tomorrow.
I mean,
Springer too.
Yeah. Spoiler. We talked
we
talked to all three of them. We talked about it last week.
I don't know if it's today, but we'll have all three. Yes.
Yeah. I think Covington is today, and that is going on Patriots.com.
Yep.
It's not.
And our
it's
social
not being
accounts.
sent by the Patriots Media Relations Department to all the various outlets.
Right.
You could go on
We're not
Patriots.com.
pool reporters.
Correct.
We're not pool reporters.
Right. I'm not telling you need to give the Patriots, give us credit for great get. No, it's not a great get. We decided to have the coordinators available and we talked to them.
But I'll bet
I'm not looking for my flowers.
I know, but I'll bet you that
Nice
the conversation
balls.
that's going
Well
on
done.
at the Herald and the Globe right now is, they're making an exclusive. We should be able to talk to him too. That's what they're saying.
Yeah,
Oh,
even if they
100%.
wanted to say they made them available to their in-house media, that's accurate. Having it, distributed through the team is not accurate. That's not what happened.
Right.
They cut us out.
And it's done in an intentionally derogatory
Yeah,
way.
we're doing it for entertainment purposes. We're not doing it for
Just
their
because I'm
benefit.
crazy doesn't mean I'm always wrong.
No, we're not doing it for the media's benefit. We're doing it for our fans' benefit.
A lot of grousing today. I like it.
Speaking of flowers, Paul, did
Yeah,
you
what
do anything
happened?
for
Like,
Beth?
what's going
Anything
on?
nice?
I don't know, but I love
started
it.
it.
Valentine's Day.
Was that
You all
yesterday?
right? Good.
No.
What?
You guys.
You didn't get Beth flowers.
I got
You
her
don't
some,
bring me flowers.
I got her some chocolates.
Okay, good.
From the gas station on the way home.
CBS.
Here you go, Toots.
So,
No, we actually,
some
in all
guy at the
seriousness,
busy intersection that was selling them
we
out of
do
a white
not
bucket.
we do not do Valentine's Day.
No, we don't really either.
The only reason why
Cards.
I did do Valentine's Day this year is because of the unfortunate birthday incident of last August.
No, it's off season. Evan's got to
God.
tell his story
Oh,
about
goodness.
his Valentine about more birthday
one?
present. Birthday present.
Oh yeah.
This is a good story.
Oh yeah. So a couple weeks ago, Jess tells me that she would love to have. We're going to the Bruins game on her birthday, and she said that she would love to have a birthday message on the jumbotron.
Oh, okay.
So being the great
not
guy,
high maintenance at all.
being the great
just wait.
being the great guy that I am, I call in a favor with the Bruins and get it up on
Matt, is Matt still there?
They wanted
No.
$200 at
No,
the top.
no, our ticket rep actually helped me out.
Oh, okay.
And I got a birthday message up on the jumbotron. She texts me on Tuesday on her birthday as I'm driving into work, and she goes, "You didn't actually get my name up on the jumbotron tonight, did you?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She was like, I'm going to be embarrassed. I don't actually want you to do that. And I was like,
Oh my God!
you told me you wanted me to do it.
Even higher maintenance.
Too late.
So then,
It'd be nice, but no.
so just to put a bow on it, we get the message was the ship had already sailed, so the message was already up there. It doesn't say who it was from. It just says
Regards.
"Happy birthday, Jess."
From the Bruins.
Nothing else.
From
There it is.
From Marshy.
So she was like, "Is that for me?"
Maybe.
Guess so.
Do you want it to be?
Well, was it something where you had to write the custom message and
I can show
Yeah,
you
what
the
did you go-
email.
right.
I literally in the
did
email.
you want it to say
Jess,
"Love Evan"?
you are my
Yes.
heartbeat. I love you forever, Evan.
Well, maybe there
I
was
did
a
not
word
say
limit.
that.
Maybe there was a letter.
Regards.
a character
Happy
Jess.
birthday, Jess. Love Evan. That's
not that hard.
How many?
8
What's
letters.
the word limit?
There was no time. There was no room.
Thanks for the sex.
Good thing
Jess.
you didn't go.
Wow. Wow.
That's my fiance.
Good thing you didn't go, Jessica.
Oh no, she doesn't like Jessica.
But then you would have really run out of space.
Her parents are the only ones that call her Jessica, and like when they say it like Jessica, and I'm like off limits.
That's
No.
Triggering.
That's
Yeah.
Lane and Michael with me. Michael.
All right.
You get a lot of Michaels?
No, Paul McGregor.
That's my personal story for the day.
Only if I like Mr. Birthday or
Let's
something.
get down to the
I don't know why we have to
listeners.
keep going there.
On the Ace Ticket Hotline, 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket Hotline. We'll start with Neek in Australia. What's up, Neek?
Hey guys, how are you?
Good.
Hey.
Like,
Hey, I got a question for Evan and Mike.
Uh-oh.
I think something that we don't talk enough about is the pass rush. So I don't know about the draft. I don't keep up with it too much. But is there anyone in the draft that we should look at getting or free agency? Because Judon's only getting older, and I don't think that the pass rush is overly that good. So just wanting to get your opinion on what direction they should go in.
Edge rushers, pass rushers.
Yeah,
in the,
I mean,
in the
I think
draft.
it's important.
Yep.
I think you could, find.
Thanks,
So I
Nate.
got to admit, like, I get a little bit tempted by. I know Evan doesn't, but the Darius Robinson guy who was down at the Senior Bowl, who's pretty badass. I mean, I think he'd be a great fit for what they do, but he's probably late round 1, early round 2 kind of guy. So I don't know. I think
You
it's
could always
just,
bring Bill back. I'm sure you could take him.
I know, right? But I think it's a long-term important position, and we did a little mock draft video for fun there that I think will be out probably tomorrow, I guess. So it's just something to think about. Everybody's so focused
that'll be
on the
distributed.
offense.
That'll be
just
distributed to
to the
the
media
local
for them
media.
to.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. I like when Paul gets a.
Oh, that was a good one.
so this is
Chippy.
actually something that I've been thinking about with free agency because we do our previews and I do offense and Deuce does defense, and I'm looking at the offense options, and for the most part, the guys especially that are going to get tagged are going to be out of the picture. T. Higgins, things like that, and I would just kind of rather them spend the money where the talent is, right? Like, don't go chasing Nelson Aguilar 2.0 again. And you actually look at this edge rusher class in free agency is absolutely loaded. I mean, whether it's Bryce Huff, Josh Uche types, or obviously Brian Burns and those guys at the top. But this edge rusher class in free agency is really, really
Is Burns
good.
the guy from Carolina
Yeah.
that Mac Jones
Mac
had the
Crab.
thing
That-
with?
that-
Tried to
might
break
be a
his
problem.
ankle.
But like Jonathan Greenard, Brian Burns,
I like how
Josh
that
Allen,
changed.
not from Jacksonville,
What?
Josh Allen.
What?
Yeah.
What changed?
Remember, it used to be that Brian Burns was the baby who was complaining. Now it's that Mac Jones tried to.
I said
it's
that
a really
Mac
good
Jones
edge
had
rusher
the
class.
thing with.
Yeah.
It's a really good free agency
Yeah.
class at edge rusher,
It is.
and I look a couple years ago, Judon was easily their best
That's it.
signing.
That's it.
So like maybe they redux that again, and they sign one of these
Yeah.
edge rushers instead of paying a receiver.
Yeah, I mean, I saw somebody say it's really hard to rebuild your offense through free agency, especially. So I like what Evan's saying. I think that those positions should really be looked at. Retaining Uche, they need some long-term stability along the defensive line because after this year, it's going to be everybody's gone.
That's interesting to me. I think we could make a good case study about that. Is it harder to rebuild on one side or the other? Now,
Maybe it
when
might
you
be
need-
this year specific.
When you
perhaps.
need everything that the Patriots need on offense, you can't fix that in free agency. I mean, it's a non-starter. But like How many teams added an alpha receiver and completely remade their offense?
Including the Patriots with
Right.
Randy Moss.
Right. Now, the Patriots added a lot. I mean, that's a great example of completely rebuilding your offense through free agency.
Yeah.
Well, that's an example, though, Fred, I think, of the ones that we just don't know. Like, when you go get Moss and, he's a distressed asset for another team that isn't actually on the free agency market. And, I've had some
But I was going more Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown.
Yeah, no, right.
You
No,
know?
and but to Fred's
Stephon
point,
Diggs.
it's just trying to figure out those moves. It's so hard to do.
Those are all
somebody
those
suggested
are all
Jack
trades.
Conklin,
Well,
who
no,
just
but
signed
it's
a
the
big
same.
deal.
It's
the same
rebuild.
thing.
It's building through veterans.
Right, but
Yeah.
but my point, I guess, is that someone in that receiver market is going to get disgruntled and become available. Last year wasn't quite, DeAndre Hopkins was probably the best one.
Right.
And it wasn't quite as big of a year for that. But over the last 4 or 5 years, whether it's Diggs, the guys you guys named, A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill, whoever, someone's going to not get
Devontae
paid.
Adams.
Someone's going to get pissed off, and someone's going to get traded. It's just a matter of
Yeah, you can hold out rather than just take T. Higgins or whoever, Brandon Ayuk. There's good receivers Mike Evans. There's good receivers that are going to be on the free agent market, but I don't think it matters in terms of. I'm with Fred. If you acquire a big time player and then you're going to give him money, that's the same as a free agent.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
You know what I mean?
I'm
And
just
I
saying
don't really
it's-
agree with the
we-
notion that
we
it's
know-
harder to do that on offense
Yeah.
than defense.
I agree with that. I just think that you don't know who's available via the
Right,
trade
yeah,
market
right.
yet.
Yep.
And
I wouldn't want to try to remake my offensive line by signing like Tyron Smith.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
that's
I don't-
the-
I don't think
yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
Somebody in the mailbag had suggested Jack Conklin, who just signed a big deal with the Browns, but then Devon Jones is kind of pushing him off the so could that be again? He's a Browns guy. Those kind of moves. There aren't enough of that kind of conjecture. I mean, we said everybody wants to just jump right into the third overall pick, but there's there's a lot of things they could do.
With the 49ers, with their list of stars that they have, at what point do these guys start, falling, and
so Brandon Ayuk
becoming
is
available?
Brandon Ayuk is
might.
getting
Yeah.
there. So he's his 5th-year options next year. So they have him under contract for 1 more year.
What about like Boza?
No, he's signed big money
Did he?
for a while. But the interesting thing about Brandon Ayuk is he's more of that natural type of receiver, like a traditional type of receiver. Do they look at it and say, we'd rather him than Deebo Samuel? And then does Deebo Samuel become available?
It's interesting.
I mean, obviously I think the 49ers are just going to try to keep everybody. But at some point, I agree. At some point, someone is going to get loose and isn't going to be able to be re-signed.
I would
Who'd
buyer
you keep?
beware on Debo Samuel.
Yeah. Who
Yeah,
would you keep?
as much as I love him, I'm starting to think that way too. He's just too hurt too often.
There's a lot of wear and tear on
Yeah.
that. And what do you think he was so upset about all those carries
Yeah.
for?
Yeah.
right.
Well, and the problem with him is that he needs to play that way to be effective. So
Right.
if you're not giving him the ball on the jet sweeps and things like that,
Yeah,
right?
no, I'd take him. Don't get me I think he's a good player, really good player, but I don't know how much longer he's going to be that.
Kittle?
Now, I
would
would
you
have thought
prioritize Kittle?
To be honest with you, I would have thought very similarly about Tyreek Hill, and he's kind of making that look bad. He's had 2 amazing years.
But he said this next year's his last year, didn't he? Say
No, but
that?
I'm just saying I would have thought that when Kansas City let him go, you probably had seen the best of him, and you didn't. You had 2 great years with Miami.
This is for all these reasons. This is why I wonder if the Niners prioritize Ayuk, who's more of that longevity, traditional type of route runner type of receiver, versus a guy like Debo who might be starting to wear down a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just look at free agency. I'm trying to learn from the lessons of of a couple of years ago of why some of the things didn't exactly work out. I think a lot of it is because they paid top dollar for C+ talent.
Yeah. That's what's hard. It's like
so I'd rather them pay Antoine Winfield Jr. a
Wait till you
bunch
see
of
what they're
money.
going to have to pay in this class.
That's
to
right.
Try to get these guys.
Like the 01 class, you kind of you look back on that with romantic eyes and they got a bunch of mid, they filled a bunch of holes. But after 2021, it feels like get the talent, use free agent to get guys like Judon who are going to make. I mean, and Hunter Henry even for what? Oh
my
no,
boy, my boy's all grown up. You finally get it.
It took 5 years of watching the Patriots.
Horses
stink.
over ponies, Mike. Horses over ponies, as Tony says.
Well, at least in free agency, and that's. I mean, use those draft picks, use those late round draft picks to take those kind of swings on those kind of guys.
I was thinking the other day, the 5th-year option thing, it's just for first round picks. Would you think it would make any sense if instead of just first round picks, they said you could use that on one member of the draft class? instead of it having to be a first-round pick.
Well, how much does it pay relative based off of their production for the first 4 years, or does it continue on the same wage scale?
Yeah.
Because it's not fair to the player at that point. Like, I think it's ridiculous. The rookie wage scales. I can't believe the NFLPA agreed to that to begin with, but
It's terrible.
It's terrible.
It's a terrible players union. It really is.
Let's go to Eldred, North Carolina. What's up, Eldred?
But I hadn't thought about the details of how that fifth year
What's up,
gets
Eldred?
Hey, Alex. Hey, fellas.
Hello.
Hey, Evan. How
Hey,
you
Evan.
doing? Hey, Evan.
Yes, sir.
Heard your rant this morning.
Oh, which one?
I'm glad you and Bart went about everything. North Carolina, I had to draw the line, bro. We have to draw the line.
I
Watch him.
I love
when
North
When
Carolina.
you get to scouting, and I'm talking about Drake May. You watch him when he comes to scouting, getting ready for the combine, or get ready for the draft. We watch him every weekend because either we cooking out or we're at a bar, and what we see is what we see. You love him because of his size and a strong arm. And
Okay, so
Paul,
only people
you
from
don't
Los
throw that- you don't
Angeles
throw
are
that
allowed
wheel.
to have an opinion on
Say what
Caleb
now?
Williams.
I've
Yeah,
watched
the
him play
big-
plenty of games. I'm very impressed with him. Listen, that doesn't mean I'm right. There's a lot of guys that I've been wrong about over the years. But it's not because I didn't watch him play. So
Right, like
that's
all
silly.
like I think my point is, Eldrin, I'm like being an a-hole. I realize that, but my point is that we all watch the same. We're all watching the guy play. We're all watching the same games. We've all watched him play. We all have different opinions. That's fine.
Yeah, we're not all required to see everything the same.
yeah, I know we're not. But willing to make a bet with you, Evan.
Uh-oh.
Since I ain't gonna make one with Paul because Paul West on my other bet. Willing to make a
If
bet.
I owe you something, send me your address. I'll send it to you.
Don't have Matt Morrell send it though.
I can vouch for Matt Morrell. He showed me today. Sent out
Okay.
numerous, multiple
I make a bet
winnings.
with
You're all getting your sixth shirt today.
If we draft him,
Yeah.
I give you to about 9 games, and you see what we're talking about. If you're right, I'll buy you dinner.
Yeah,
I need
I'm
more
going to
than
be. I'm
9
going to be a
games.
little.
Make
I'm
it
going to be a little
Jersey
stubborn
Mike's.
though.
Make it Jersey
I
Mike's.
need more than 9 games.
Yeah, that's
I need
tough.
to see him
That's
in
tough
another
on any
offense.
quarterback. Yeah.
I'm not going to saddle him like if he gets stuck here with nothing around him. I'm not going to blame that
Okay.
just on the quarterback.
Okay.
I just
okay,
think-
Okay, we'll be fair there. I give him a year. Give you a year. If that's what you
I
wanna
think-
How
do,
about 3?
I do it
I-
then.
Can we
I
can
think you
we
need
can we
at
wait
least
3
2
years for a draft
Three?
pick?
I might not be around for 3.
Oh, E, you're not going anywhere, Big E.
Well, you're watching your phone and you're driving your truck. I mean, that's
Come on now. No, seriously, you got to give him a couple. Like,
Okay, Paul, you west on the lunch bet with
yeah, I don't know
Harry.
what bet that is.
I told you.
Can't keep
After
track
the
of the
first
bets.
year, you want to get rid of him. And I told you the people that got drafted before him and after him would be a whole lot better than he was.
And I said that
You said
that
get
N'Keal
it.
Harry would be better than the guys that were drafted after him.
No,
Paul's a
no,
big
no,
N'Keal
no.
Harry guy.
I said, I told
I
you.
called him a
Think
bust in
Everybody said we
OTAs.
got Harry's good, but I said the guys that drafted after Harry and before Harry be a whole lot better than he will be in that year.
If I owe you
In 2
something,
years, you'll be ready to get rid of
Eldred,
him.
I'd be happy to
We'd
pay
be
up.
in
But I literally referred
Thanks,
to N'Keal
Eldred.
Harry as a bust in
Oh,
OTAs.
I just
OTAs before he got to his first training camp. I said this guy can't run routes. He can't get open.
I just think one thing that you have to do with the draft, and this is why I pick fun at the people from North Carolina, the college production and winning and losing in college does not make you a good NFL prospect. It doesn't make a difference. So if Jaden Daniels won the Heisman Trophy, that doesn't guarantee that he's going to be a good NFL player. I think he's a good prospect. I'm just saying that college production and college success and the stats that you put up in college, that's not what we're doing here.
well, it's not the only thing, but I like to.
It's
see,
almost nothing.
No, I like to see people succeeding. In
Right, well, they've all succeeded. All 3 of those guys have succeeded.
well, I'm just saying in general. I'm not just talking about those 3 guys. I mean, it's good to see guys have production.
Yeah.
When you draft based off of college production, you get into trouble.
I'm not saying
Most
that's
of
the
time.
only thing.
But I would just say that, and again, Tim Boyle excluded, all college quarterbacks that are up for the NFL draft succeeded. They had stats,
Phil in Eastern
except for
North
Tim
Carolina.
Boyle, who threw more picks than
Why
touchdowns.
are you always on him, Paul? Leave
Because
him alone.
I couldn't believe it when I was reading that stuff about. I didn't know anything about
You're
Tim
so
Boyle.
mean.
That game that he played, the Black Friday game, he was they were talking.
Brutal.
He wasn't even good in college. How is he even in the league?
Well, that's a
he
good
must
question.
be like 6'4".
I think he's Rodgers' buddy. He's another one of those guys.
Phil in Eastern North Carolina. I'm a very long-time listener since right around when the show started, probably. I've been in North Carolina since about the time, and I'm blown away by the idiots down here talking about Drake May. The people from here saying he can't play are, no doubt, North Carolina State or Virginia Tech fans. Both fan bases hate UNC with every fiber of their being. They spend more time talking about UNC than their own teams, especially North Carolina State. Drake is a great kid, a leader, and talented. He and Sam Howell struggled the last 3 years behind a very poor pass-blocking line and limited skill talent. He has plenty to work on, especially his footwork, but he should be our number one choice. Well, there's a North Carolina vote for him.
I like all three of those guys, by the way. I think Evan said it about a half hour ago, there's a lot of differences between the three. They're not all the same style.
Yeah. I'm just not even allowing myself really to invest in Caleb Williams because I just can't see it the way.
Well, he cried.
One or two. He cried. And
he
that's
cried that one
unacceptable.
time, and he totally out on him now.
Just like, why are you crying?
Can't have.
I just wish
Suck it
with
up.
Caleb Williams that the conversation was, because he does have flaws as a player. Like there's no perfect prospect, but we don't hear people talk about those things because it's all about the crying and all his attitude and this and that and the other thing.
If I had the people like these North Carolina people calling me about Caleb Williams, talking about how he holds the ball too long and tries to extend every play, plays hero ball, and doesn't play within the structure of the offense, I would take all of that.
Yeah.
Over that he cried after the Utah game or the Washington, whatever.
And all of those
game it
are
was.
legitimate knocks, I would say, about Caleb Williams.
Yeah, and he's a little smaller than I'd like. He's 6'1".
Yeah, he is.
Will's in Cranston. What's up, Will?
How we doing today, fellas?
All right.
Well.
Hey, lady.
Hey.
Hey, lady.
I wanted to touch on the three quarterbacks today. I think Caleb Williams is the best talent in the NCAA right now, but I'm a little bit scared of him to play in our market considering how quickly we're willing to do away with Mac Jones. But I think I'd be happy with either Drake May or Jaden Daniels. But the question I had today is, would you guys be more comfortable with Drake May or with Jaden Daniels? Because what makes me nervous is that Jaden Daniels had Malik Neighbors as a safety blanket, and he's one of the best receivers in the NCAA right now as well. So would you guys rather have somebody who's kind of isolated as far as known talent with Drake May, or would you guys rather go Jaden Daniels?
Whoever Ben McAdoo wants, that's who I want.
But I think that's the point that I'm trying to make is that
Thanks, Will.
Comparing Drake May's stats in college to Jaden Daniels is not apples to orange or apples to apples.
It's not a fair comparison.
Because not only does he have Malik Neighbors, he also has Brian Thomas, who's also going to go in the first round at receiver from LSU. And Michael Penix has 16 guys that are going to go get drafted on his offense. So if you had put Drake May in LSU's offense and he's throwing to Malik Neighbors and he's throwing to Brian Thomas and he's got all these weapons around him, you don't know how it would have looked.
I think there's also a lot of intangible factors involved with that kind of stuff, with the amount that is on Drake May as compared, like this year, the amount that, and this would be a red flag to me on Caleb Williams. He had the great year where he won the Heisman, and he's the guy. He's in the spotlight, and he didn't handle the spot. He didn't have as good a year his last year as he did 2 years ago. That would be a red flag for me. But that's football. Maybe he wasn't ready for that amount of scrutiny. He sort of put himself in that spotlight with the stuff he did with Notre Dame on his fingernails and things like that. And then he played by far his worst game against Notre Dame. That would worry me a little bit.
Bridgestone is the official tire of the New England Patriots and proud partner with Sullivan Tire, New England's headquarters for quality Bridgestone tires. Visit sullivantire.com to find a location near you. Paul's got to eat. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
As I think back over the past few seasons, I wanted to thank my most trusted game day teammate, Tostitos.
As I recall the last-minute grocery runs and late-night dishwashing, the salty defeats and spicy victories, I realize it was all thanks to my teammate Tostitos. It was always you, Tostitos. Team up with Tostitos, the official chip and dip of the New England Patriots.
And we are back with another edition of the TU Halftime Show. I am joined by a new potential co-host. Is this the audition? Does he stay a long time? We got Chris Cassidy. Say hello.
What's up, guys? How are you?
I snagged this kid right from his desk. He wasn't ready for it, so I'm putting him under a gun here.
I'm excited, though. It'll be good.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be good.
All right, we're going to start with some trivia as always. Chris, don't answer. All right, question 1. Who was the halftime performer for Super Bowl 36? All right. Question 2. What number was Patriots receiver Michael Floyd? All he's known for is that big block. And then number 3, who caught the first pass for the Patriots of Super Bowl 49? All right, send your answers in the web radio at patriots.com. Chris, I switched it up on you a little there at the end.
You said 51.
Yeah, no, 49. And Chris, we are going to do some start bench cuts, all right? And your task for the day was come up with some start bench cuts. Let's discuss them.
All right. Let me think here for a quick moment. For you, I'm going to start with 3 Super Bowls.
All right.
First one, Super Bowl, I think it was 39. Start bench cut, Super Bowl 39, Super Bowl 49, and Super Bowl 51.
That's like easy money. You got to spice it up a little. I'm going start 49. That's like one of the best Pats teams of all time. And I think they played one of the best teams. Like that defense, Legion of Boom, all time. Bench 51, cut 39. Like, good team. I just wasn't.
Was it 39? It was 39.
Yeah,
right?
it was 39.
It was 38.
I get them mixed up.
I did too. We won so many.
Yeah, I think it was 39.
It was.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go with it.
Yeah. No, you agree. What's yours?
For me, 39, 49, 51.
51.
51.
28-3.
Correct.
Okay.
That I would start that one.
All right.
49, I would bench that one, and I would cut 39.
So you'd start 51.
I would start 51.
Okay.
I bench 49, and I cut 39.
The real question is, how old were you when 39 was out?
Yeah, I was 3 years old.
Ooh.
3 years old.
You watched 3 Games of Glory for that one, didn't you?
I did. Oh, I remember. Oh, you should. 36. 36, I was not even one yet.
You're going to scare the listeners.
Not even one yet.
All right, what you got next?
Next, I would say top 3. I'm going to list 3 receivers, or 3 big catches from previous games.
All right.
And you're going to do a start bench cut.
All right.
First, Edelman's catch against the Falcons in Super Bowl 51.
There you go.
There we go. Getting my Super Bowls right. Second is Campbell Tompkins overtime, end of the fourth quarter catch against the Saints. Third one is Gronk over the middle against the Broncos, and I think it was 2013.
Yeah, sounds about right. AFC. Yeah, that's all right. All right, I'm going to go start Edelman. This is just because the moments, the Super Bowl. Big moments, you know. And you're going to bench Campbell Tompkins, I remember. I was in college for that one. Great day. That also, the best part about that catch was just the drive. Brady's throwing, to Campbell Tompkins and Austin Collie. So that one. And then got to cut the Gronk catch, although it was great with his robotic arm. So
I agree with that. I think it's a really close toss-up between Kimbrel and Julian, to be honest with you.
All right.
I feel that way because, I don't know, it's just obviously the Super Bowl, big moment. You have to start that one for Julian. But for me, with that Kimbrel catch, I just remember as a fan, like a young fan, like, again, I think that was also 2013 season. Just crazy how it just sticks in my memory.
See,
it's nuts.
It would be interesting if you put like, the Edelman catch be at if it wasn't in the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Then we have a discussion there.
Yeah,
but you got
I agree.
The moments.
I agree.
All right, let's get one more in.
One more?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh God.
It's a lot of pressure here, Tease. All right, well, let's do one not sport related.
All right, go for it.
I'm gonna do something crazy. Dinner foods.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, I love food.
All right, we'll start. Sorry, no, I'm not starting, but we'll go chicken, and we'll go steak, and then let's go haddock. Let's throw haddock in there.
Do you want to just do fish?
I don't know.
Is there a type of chicken? What we do it? Like chicken tenders?
Sure.
Like what kind of steak?
However you want to take. Oh, all right. Let's do prime rib. Let's do chicken tenders.
Oh.
And let's do I don't know, fried shrimp.
Okay, fried shrimp. All right.
Totally random.
I'm starting tendies.
Okay.
Like I'm starting tendies, and I'm benching the prime rib, and I'm cutting the shrimp.
You're cutting the shrimp.
It's tough though. It's close.
All right. I would start that prime rib. Like if you get a good piece of prime rib and you're eating that, it's so good. Like, you got the juices and stuff. I'll bench the tendies. I'm cutting the fried shrimp. I'm actually allergic to shrimp teeth.
Now I know.
There you go.
Okay.
That's why I'm cutting it.
All right, Chris, thanks for joining. Remember, send your trivia answers in the web radio at patriots.com, and let's get back to the show.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
oh no!
Replacements were shipped with FedEx, and with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
And now, great moments in history.
Am I allowed to call out other PU listeners/callers? If so, I would like to call out Todd in North Carolina for being a fraud.
Whoa.
A week or two ago, you called him out for all the background noise when he called into the show. He claimed he didn't know why there was so much noise, and he might have been doing dishes or something. I have a hard time believing this story. Why would he know, or why would he not know what he was doing when he called into the show? It seems like something you remember. Love you, Todd. Just having fun. And then he calls us out for our background noise. So.
Let's go to Todd in North Carolina.
Oh.
Todd, if you called it.
Perfect.
If you did that on purpose.
Checkmate.
That was good.
Well done, my friend. No, I don't think you did it on purpose.
All right.
That's another great moment from
Already counting down the days until first kickoff? I know I am. Spend the off-season shopping with a full month of exciting new choices during Bob Discount Furniture's President's Day celebration. Save big and score the latest looks you love for less with tons of new styles, new clearance, new something. What is this? I can't read your writing. New outlet finds. So in the outlet, you can find things. New outlet finds, and of course, new everyday low prices. Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store of the New England Patriots. So big President's Day sales. When is that?
Monday.
President's Day. Monday?
Monday.
Okay. Head down to Bob's.
But be here. It's not on a holiday.
I was just about to say that.
I'm out.
Careful.
I'm out.
In Florida?
Oh.
I'm out
No,
next week.
The South.
Where are you going?
College visits.
College visits.
Oh, so exciting.
I'm hoping to get recruited.
You gonna go by UNC Chapel Hill?
Do you still have eligibility?
We are. I do not.
Stop in and see Drake May there?
Although there was a kid at BU that played like 6 years. So I think they're a little lenient on the baseball side of it.
By the way,
I think he played 3 years for Suffolk and 3 years for BU.
We would be remiss if we didn't mention what happened in the Chiefs parade yesterday. That's awful.
That's a good point, Freddie.
Yeah. I don't know what the count is now, but I know at least one person died and a few people are in critical condition. And
it sounds like
Many
3
children,
people
it
were
seems
arrested,
like.
and that it was just kind of like a
beef
between these 3 people.
Yeah. But they were just, I guess, shooting everywhere, you know?
No, but it sounds like one woman DJ there lost her life. I think everybody else is expected to make a full recovery, but
yeah,
I wish I could say I'm surprised. This is what happens now.
Yeah. So it sucked, because it was a day of celebration and then it ends in tragedy, and that's not good.
Nope.
Yeah, it's sad. All right, 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket hotline. Pat in Agawam. No, that's not the one. I'm sorry, Pat. I'll get to you a little later. But Spee writes in. He said, I emailed before the Super Bowl saying I was rooting for Kansas City for the petty reason of not wanting the net neutral quarterback idea to gain traction, which I'm glad it didn't, in what was a pretty sure test of it. You look at this century for average quarterbacks who won it all, and there's Trent Dilfer, Brad Johnson, maybe the Wentz-Fultz duo, although I wonder if Wentz was above average and the injury that year stalled his career. But those are exceptions to the rule that net neutral quarterbacks don't generally win Super Bowls, right? How does Barth handle such facts?
Well, when you go to overtime of the Super Bowl and you're like 3 plays away from winning, are you really winning the argument, Spee? Are you?
No,
That's what I said on Tuesday. If I believed in that side, nothing that happened on Sunday would.
Right. You just look at who won and you said, "This is the truth. This is the way to do it."
The only way.
Again, if you do it that way, why do you bother watching? Just wait to see who wins, and that's the opinion, fact. Like scoreboard, Felger.
Right. So
scoreboard.
like two plays go a different way, the result changes. It changes the
and
whole
now all of a
narrative for the
sudden we
next 2
should
months.
build our team with the 7th round pick and
And again, when you just get clouded by wins and losses. So again, like Evan said, the game easily could have gone the other way. I said that on Tuesday. Like if I was Alex and I believed in that net neutral thing, nothing that happened in the game would. But I would say if I didn't believe in the net neutral thing, like I don't, I would point to the luck factor of winning the first 2 games in the playoffs, largely because your quarterback wasn't ready to play in the first half of both of those games.
Yeah.
He played well when he had to his credit. He came up big in the fourth quarter, but we said if they play the same way, they're probably going to lose to Kansas City, and they kind of did.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt, no trivia? Oh. Okay, well, it's all right.
It's my favorite time of
I
the
was just
show.
wondering if you had trivia. You want to just read it?
Why don't you just read them out?
You can be part of the show.
Yeah, join us.
You don't have to print it out. I know you're having printer troubles in there.
All right. Who was the halftime performer for Super Bowl 36?
You two.
You too.
Oh, come on, get out of
Yeah. Come on.
Let's make it
What
hard.
number did Michael Floyd?
15.
It's 15. I was going to say 18, but I knew that wasn't right.
I think I should say what number was Michael Floyd?
15?
14.
14.
14.
Really?
And who caught the first pass for the Patriots in Super Bowl 49?
Which one was that?
Brandon LaFell.
49 was which
Seahawks.
one?
Shane Vereen.
So,
Seahawks.
is that the Seahawks?
Yeah.
No.
Jules.
It was Julian.
Jules?
I got Gronk for an answer.
Gronk.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
How could that be?
Well, we guessed everybody else, so.
All right.
Winners will get their T-shirts.
I kind of went into that question thinking that,
I
it was
Yeah,
an
it was
obscure
a-
guy.
yeah,
Rod
yeah,
Rutledge,
Robert Gronkowski.
Speaking of games, L has one from Wisconsin.
Yep.
This is an either-or game.
Oh.
Either or. Take a quarterback at 3 and end up with a Jay Cutler level player, or trade down and leave the first round with only a left tackle.
Jay Cutler.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess Jay Cutler. I guess. I mean, that's a good
Jay
good person who
Cutler level player.
has some
I'll take
skill,
that.
has some arm, but
Yeah, I'll take
the
that.
left tackle.
does he have his kind of like attitude, smoking Jay Cutler?
Well, that's different. He
hope so.
said player.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's
All
why I
right,
said Jay
yeah.
Cutler.
Yeah.
So
He's
he
funny.
has Jay Cutler's
Jay Cutler-
ability.
He's really funny.
Jay Cutler with good
So
moxie.
you're going to
would
use
be
your
good.
third-round pick, and you're going to end up with a Jay Cutler level player?
Talent.
Yeah, talent.
Yes.
Jay Cutler is definitely talented.
If you're going to tell me he has Jay Cutler's work ethic, then I'll take the tackle.
Well, that's what I think he meant.
That's not what he said.
Football.
I-
I mean,
but
it's a really good example.
All right,
to
let
use
me
in this
rephrase
case.
it. You're going to have the type of career Jay Cutler had.
Oh well.
I'm still kind of going with
Yeah.
Cutler.
I'm kind of leading Cutler too.
What if Josh?
I can
Josh
get
never
I can
traded
get
him?
a tackle anywhere.
All
I
right.
don't know about that, but-
2, make it to 9
Second
wins.
round tackles are pretty good.
Second round tackle.
I don't know. I'll try to read the question.
They're just having another conversation.
Make it to 9 wins next year, scraping by to barely beat only one playoff team, or have another top 3 pick next year.
Top 3 pick.
Yeah, top 3 pick I think is probably.
So we're going to have to listen to Tank It all year from you.
Yay, can't wait.
How about like you,
Yeah.
but you
That's-
win
that's a-
like 2 out of your last 3, and you show some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take the 9 wins.
Me too.
I'll take the 9 wins.
Give me
Like
the
that
pick.
means because that means they made some additions to the roster that worked.
Right.
I'll take the 9 wins.
Yeah.
Give me the
Next year,
I want to
like,
start. I want to.
you tell me that you wouldn't think that was amazing to win 9 games. You're
Yeah,
expecting.
but
he wants. Yeah.
You
he
can't
wants
get
to
it all
become-
at once.
I know.
the question.
I want to
is-
start. I want to start
Fred,
developing.
I don't know
a-
about your recent hires, man.
Right.
They're way too
I
negative.
want to start developing a winning culture, not a losing culture.
I don't think
fair.
I'm.
That's
I don't
fair.
think I count as a recent hire.
No,
anymore.
I mean, I
recent
think,
to me.
I think Paul's right though. Like something had to go right, and they were at so
Right,
they
that's
like.
So if that team's going to win 9 games next year, that means they hit on some draft picks.
But that wasn't
they hit
what
on
the
some free
question
agency,
was.
and Gerard Mayo was pretty good.
That wasn't.
I would take that.
That wasn't exactly what the question was.
He
though.
said, "Make
read
it to
it again.
9 wins, scraping by to barely beat only one playoff team."
Right, like a bad 9-win team.
Oh,
Still
I'll
progress.
take that, but that means all of those things happened. They are not
guess
capable
that's
right
not
now
the
of
way
doing
I took-
that.
That's not the way I took the question. When you say scrapping by,
But I'm just looking
beating
at you
Sam
going from
Ehlinger and
But you're going from 4. They couldn't
Bryce
do that
Petty
last
and-
year, Ev.
I agree. I just
They
am
lost to the
saying
backups last
that-
year.
to
That's
me
why
that-
they went from 7 wins to 4
To
wins.
me, that's 2022. Like, I don't need another 2022.
All right.
That's all.
Dominate the regular season, but choke in the playoffs like Baltimore, or have a 10-point lead in the Super Bowl, but Kyle Shanahan is your coach.
Jeez. Just strays for no reason.
I know. Your guy.
Kyle
How about your guy?
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan.
Where's your flat brim hat?
How about your guy firing his defensive coordinator?
That is pretty funny.
That was poor
That
to
is
me.
pretty funny.
There's more to that story.
Oh, yeah. Of course there is.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick's going to replace him?
No. They had already he had already taken over some of the defensive game planning and stuff like that.
Yeah, it
I guess
showed. They couldn't stop anybody.
They had some issues.
More of that.
They had some issues.
Christian in North Carolina says, why isn't Jaden Daniels a fit for AVP? Isn't Lamar Jackson's offense now very play-action heavy and run-based? I don't get why he wouldn't be a fit in an AVP offense.
I don't know. Is Lamar Jackson under center a lot?
No, they run pistol, which
That's how you get your play action.
Yeah, which we've talked about in the past as a way to adapt it. Van Pelt's offense is traditional under center, hard play action off of that. It's just you're not really fit.
It just is
It's
Joe
not.
Flacco's offense, though, right? Like, I mean, it's perfect for Joe Flacco. That's like what he did.
And
right?
even then, he threw 100 interceptions.
Right.
And I like Flacco. It is what it is.
Jordan writes in, I know there was talk or a report out there that said it's likely the Patriots are trading Mac Jones. We know that there was interest from the 49ers when Mac was coming out. Do you think it's a potential landing spot for him? If not the 49ers, where do you think Mac could end up?
I don't really think the 49ers, just because Brock Purdy seems so contemporary to him. It just seems like a weird kind of combination.
Can I
of
just
guys.
pick at that again?
Sure.
Like, do we really believe that?
That the 49ers really wanted Mac?
No, because, they moved up from 12 to 3 and took another quarterback. Is that just because of John Lynch? That's what everybody's saying. Like, Kyle Shanahan wants to fight John Lynch still to this day because he didn't do that. Like, I just don't believe it. I don't believe it.
I'll
I'm
just
sorry.
say what I don't see is I don't see the way they got Brock Purdy playing. I don't see Mac Jones playing that way.
If
I
they
don't see
liked Mac Jones, they would have
rolling off
taken
play
him.
action
I'm
and rolling
sorry.
out and doing bootleg stuff. Like, that's not Mac Jones.
Brock Purdy definitely has more mobility than Mac. And, like, mobility that he can actually tap into.
Yeah.
Like, I think if they ran a race, then maybe it would be pretty close. But, actual in-game mobility, Brock Purdy's definitely moves around better.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just push back on the whole, like,
push back.
Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones. That's why they moved up, and John Lynch overruled him.
It's possible.
I just don't
Why
buy
is that,
it.
Why is that impossible?
You didn't even have to move
Because I don't think you make a move that high in the draft for a specific guy and then don't take that guy.
Well, maybe
I don't think that makes any sense at all.
And there was no buzz that he was a top 3 guy.
Well, I don't know.
right?
See, maybe the part about Shanahan liking Mac Jones is true, but maybe they moved up to get Trey Lance.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll accept that.
Yeah.
That's not the story, though. The story is that Shanahan was pissed because he wanted Mac Jones. Because he thought he was...
Maybe they didn't want to do the trade-up.
I don't believe that.
You liked Lance, though,
But
right?
I don't see
Lance
why
was
you
my
don't
top
believe
guy.
it.
Yeah, I think Lance...
Because he would have taken him.
It wasn't his call.
Yes, it is. You can't be the god... Sorry, Ev. You can't be the god of football and not have it be your call.
No, but okay, so in any organization...
So many strays.
You get to draft
I
day...
apologize to it.
You get to draft
Almost
day,
a week
and there's
removed.
this huge argument, and,
Listen, Fred,
Elliot Wolf...
Fred,
is
you're right. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know for sure. I just don't believe it. I don't believe that you go from 12 to 3 to target a guy and then change your mind and not take the guy. I
Yeah,
don't believe it.
I don't know about that, but
That's the way it's written.
I can see Shanahan liking Mac Jones because he's that net neutral quarterback coming out of, and in my
See,
system,
I think the only-
and in my system, and then I could see Lynch liking the guy with more intangibles and more skill, and then the owner saying we're going to go with Trey Lance.
You can't trade up to 3 to take a net neutral guy, though, right?
No.
Like
No.
That's
Well, I
makes
don't
no
But
sense.
that part of it may not be accurate.
But that's the story.
Yeah.
That's what we're pushing back on.
I think the 49ers trade up it didn't work out, obviously, but the idea behind it was really smart because they already had Jimmy Garoppolo. So they had the average guy quarterback, and they took a big swing on getting somebody that had a little bit more ceiling, and it didn't work out.
And I think that the I don't know. the attraction for Shanahan, if it was true, to Mac Jones is that he had the team already.
Right, he's plug
and
and play.
he was the most
Right.
quote unquote NFL ready.
I agree, and that's why I can see Shanahan liking Mac Jones.
And Evan just told you why that was irrelevant, because you didn't need a guy that year.
Well, Garoppolo's always hurt, and maybe they just didn't think he had it.
I agree with Fred that there's a really
I know
good-
that Mac Jones didn't.
I think there was a really
they
good
didn't.
chance.
Nobody knew it at the time.
That the 49ers would have
Well, you're
taken,
better than all of us.
would have taken Mac Jones at 12. If they had never traded up,
That's different.
then I
Right.
think that there's
Yeah.
a really good chance that he would have been the pick there.
But the story, and I agree with Mike, is that Mac Jones was his guy. Like, I have my choice of these 5 guys. Mac Jones is the guy.
Okay.
And I don't believe that, because I think you would have taken him. That's all. That's all. That's the only part of it that I disagree with. Not whether or not they felt like he was ready or not.
I could see
all
them.
that stuff.
I could see them being.
I don't think Kyle Shanahan thought he was the best quarterback in the draft and then didn't take him at 3.
Well, assuming it was all his decision.
Him and Lynch worked that way.
Okay, but wasn't part of the story that Lynch disagreed?
No.
No, they all liked Mac Jones.
No.
So they didn't like Mac Jones.
No, Shanahan liked Mac Jones.
Okay.
I don't believe that. That's the part I don't believe.
You don't believe he
I
liked
think
Mac
they
Jones.
were in agreement.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I don't believe that he wanted Mac Jones.
I believe that he liked Mac Jones. I don't know if he liked him at 3. But you just look at the quarterbacks that they've had play there: Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy, like Mac Jones.
And
Well,
again,
they lucked into Brock Purdy.
But
I know,
let me,
but I'm
let
just
me just
saying,
say
he's
it
the one
again.
that's playing.
I don't know what the actual truth is. I'm just telling you that's from afar. It makes no sense to me.
I could see shit.
But I don't know. Maybe that is what
Yeah.
happened. Maybe you're exactly right, and Lynch overruled him. I just don't believe that story.
Craig writes in about Jaden Daniels. If he was 25 pounds heavier, all things being equal, would your evaluations of him change?
I like Jaden Daniels.
Since Daniels has likely always been the skinniest guy on the team, do you think he has learned how to elude hard hits? Wayne Gretzky was the weakest, skinniest player, 170 pounds. Opposing players say he was impossible to hit hard because he was like checking a rope. Could
He's
Daniels
also
have the same
greatest
superpower?
player of all time?
We talked about this a little bit on Catch 22, but the concerns about Jaden Daniels' frame and like taking big hits, I don't have those. Like I have concerns about him as a passer.
I have a little of those concerns. And I
don't
heard
worry
Dave
about
Brugler
him.
this morning, and he maybe have even more concerns with that.
He's reckless as a runner.
Yes.
He thinks that he's Josh Allen, and he's going to lower his shoulder and run people over, but he'll learn. Like
Right.
I have no doubt
and I
about
think
it that
Lamar
he'll
does
learn.
a better job of that.
Yeah.
And Lamar's a lot bigger to me than he is. But
helps when you can run like the wind.
But Lamar Jackson skips out of bounds a lot now, and
Yeah.
he didn't used to do that.
They'll if Jaden Daniels is the guy,
I like
that'll
Daniels.
get coached out of him.
I mean, I like May too, but I mean, this is not an anti-Daniels thing.
No.
I like Daniels too.
Yeah.
Ryan in Lincoln, Nebraska has some criticism.
Uh-oh.
He says, are you all aware that when you go to eat, a couple goobers take over your radio waves and talk about things like prime rib being worse than chicken tenders? Thought you should know. I did not know that. I thought we were running. People are actually talking.
No,
during
that
the
was
break?
they did a.
I didn't know that.
They did a cut.
What was the halftime show topic?
They did a.
Did they hijack the show? Like, what are they
no,
doing?
they did like a cut bench start kind of thing, and they had like 3 foods.
Oh boy.
They cut prime rib for chicken fingers.
No, I thought shrimp got cut.
Who was it?
That's fair.
Who was with
It was
Who were the goobers?
Teeth and Chris.
Chris
Oh.
Chris Cassidy making his
Chris is just an
illustrious
intern.
debut on the halftime
He's
show. I
not
guess
an intern. That's rude.
On a
Okay.
football note, if the unexpected happens and they roll with
Associate.
QBs currently under quarterback, or under contract, I should say, who best
Lord
fits what
help
we
us all.
expect AVP's offense to be? So they stick with what they have. Who's better?
Please, I don't even
Well,
want to entertain the question.
I know. Well, I mean, and probably feeds into this latest Mac Jones report of the toxic locker room, quarterback room that Bailey Zappi was
Watching film in the
reportedly
receivers
watching
room.
film with the receivers. I don't know.
Isn't that old?
I don't know. I guess. I
It
mean,
was
Isn't
in
that
like
the
an-
Wickersham thing?
probably
Essentially.
something.
It
yeah,
was in
essentially.
a Albert Breer mailbag today.
Yeah, I think that's from a Wickersham thing.
Oh, it's like one of those Albert Breer things, right?
Well, if you're in a mailbag, yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Let's
if he was
see.
presenting it as his own story that he was distributed off of, Patriots Media
Good
Relations, then
call.
that would be
That's
different.
amazing.
I like this. I love it. He's got a bee in his bonnet for the Globe. I love it. I love it. Alex
I'm
from
such a child.
Mount Holly Just want to say I echo Evan's concerns as a young fan. But yes, Paul, I still believe in Santa Claus, so I think Gerard Mayo and the new staff will be built the right 53-man roster with smart, tough football players. That was sarcasm in case Fred butchers the delivery. More importantly, I was curious if that map next to Paul has ever been hung in the wall. I've watched the show for a while now, and I feel it has a permanent home on the ground.
I'm coming up on 5 years here. I have never seen us put a pin in that thing.
No,
once.
it ended.
We don't do that anymore.
No,
Eric was the only one that knew where the
just
countries were.
No, it's the opposite.
Liechtenstein, what's that?
No, someone would come.
like he
Someone would
sucks.
call the show from a country, a new country, and then I'd have I'd have Eric put the pin in it. The show would ground to a halt because he didn't know where the country was, and yet he claims to be this, bon vivant, international traveler, and he doesn't know where Romania is.
Every time you guys talk about Eric, I'm like, that guy stinks.
No,
Like,
I
you
love
guys
Derek.
Really
I
don't.
love Derek. I mean,
You
but it's
really
like,
Someone had to.
sell it.
No, somebody had to. No.
You guys really
a
don't.
good
sell
He's
it.
really
the map,
funny.
to answer the question, the map was on the wall before you put all the like the soundproofing and stuff up around the studio. Studio's going to get a makeover soon, too.
Yeah,
anyway.
we're working on that.
Yeah.
Finally, as someone who was born and raised in North Carolina, and I think the hate for Drake May comes from a lot of people having hatred for UNC and compare him to the type of guys like Daniel Jones and Mitch Trubisky coming out of college, when none of the locals felt either of those guys played well in college. I've seen this stuff happen several times. So, I don't know.
He's a good player. I think if Drake May is there at 3, I'd put the card in.
Yeah.
What about Daniels?
Yeah, I was going to say any of the 3.
I'm just about there with him too. But
me too.
Just
I think
the
guy in New York that yells at me all the time,
Yeah.
I think he's swaying me.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels.
Arthur.
It's so.
Arthur.
If you want the electric playmaker, that's Jaden Daniels. If you want the more traditional,
Yeah.
but still has some of the new stuff of mobility,
Yeah.
and things
It's
like
Mahomes.
that, it's Drake May.
Josh Allen,
right.
and Lamar.
That's what they'll
Right.
be. No,
it really is. I mean, it really.
That's what you have to hope for. There's something like that.
I just think you're kind of victim to your circumstances of what we kind of experienced the last couple of years at the quarterback position here. And there's just, something intriguing about Jaden Daniels having crazy athleticism. I don't know how exactly it would translate, but I know that he's always going to be a super athlete. So I'm at least willing to watch how that goes. We kind of watched the high floor guy for a while.
So you think he's always going to be that, huh?
Well, I mean, until he gets to year 10 of his career.
No, I'm with you. But it's amazing how many emails we get now. That style doesn't hold up.
Oh.
Like they're waiting for Lamar Jackson to fall apart still.
Yeah.
Like that already his.
And I just look at
Mahomes won't be able to
just
49
out of 50 MVP.
I know. Well, that's what I just watched Mahomes, where
Aaron
it's
Schatz
not
is
like
the one that voted for Josh
he's got to
Allen.
run. It's not like Mahomes has to run the ball for their offense to work. It's just he waits till the right spots, and then all of a sudden they run. He just keeps it and goes and gets what he needs to do. That's what's appealing to me. And I think with Daniels, it's the potential of like explosive plays off those. It's not just Mahomes weaving like he does, to get the first downs. It's like, no, if this guy is able to go, he might take it to the house. And that's
there's
fun to
something
watch.
incredibly intriguing about actually playing 11 on 11, where like the
Yeah,
quarterback's
right.
legs
Yep.
are something that the opponent has to game plan every single week. Like you're going to come into every game, and whether it's design run, scramble, whatever, Jaden Daniels can take off and run 40 yards at any point in time, and that's something that
That'd be fun.
The opponent
We've
has
never
to
really
account
had
for.
that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Michael Bishop.
We've never really had
Doug
that.
Flutie.
No, because they got by the time they
We've
got,
never really had that.
By the time they got
Steve
Cam,
Grogan.
Cam Newton.
Okay, we did have it once.
no. Sorry, neck
Put the
roll.
neck roll on.
Grogan
on
had a
Jaden
lot
Daniels.
of
Grogan had
running
14
yards.
rushing touchdowns one year.
Yeah, but like Jaden Daniels is a different animal.
Oh, of course.
We're talking about evolution now.
Yeah.
Like
His body is completely falling apart on him.
Sean's in Vancouver. What's up, Sean?
Sean.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, hey everyone. In terms of the complaint, about the lack of details in terms of what type of offensive philosophy is going on, I'm with Mike in your hopes that maybe it's about these players, and let's see who they're gonna bring in, because and then let's set the philosophy, because I don't want them to be okay, we're set in the Cleveland type of offense. We got to find our Njoku player. We got to find our Nick Harris. We got to find these specific type of guys, and that's what we're going to run. I'd rather see, okay, these are the players who we get. We don't know who we're going to get with the third pick. If it's going to be May, then yeah, maybe we can build around that. But if it's Daniels, okay, let's let's try and build a system around that, because he's not going to fit into that Cleveland system that we were running before.
So then what are you going to do? Like, just out of curiosity,
That's like why I don't agree with this point.
Yeah, if Daniels can't run a system that your offensive coordinator wants to run, well, then what do you do with your offensive system?
You're going to alter it and put in the plays that he can run. You're going to.
But what if Van Pelt isn't comfortable with that?
Well, that's what I'm hoping he is. I'm hoping that he can adapt to.
Yeah. Now I agree with you, Sean, and I'm playing a little devil's advocate. But I think Evan's point is you're kind of pigeonholed if you do it that way, and just would kind of like to have an idea of the kinds of guys that you're not specific players, but the style of player that you're sort of interested in to see, what would fit best. I don't think that you could just plug any quarterback into any system, but yeah, if you get Jaden Daniels, you're not going to ask him to just play like Tom Brady and stand in the pocket all day. You have to sort of do. You have to.
God forbid. I look at it differently.
That was worse than my if he got to the goal line comment.
I look at it differently, honestly, because I think that they have they have a blank canvas. They don't have any players that we need to build around this guy on our team, because they don't have any good enough players. So if you have this blank canvas, I would much rather Alex Van Pelt and Elliott Wolf and Matt Groh to sit down and say, AVP, how do you want to play? Who are the types of players that you want? What does an Alex Van Pelt X receiver do? Like, what is his route tree? What are his sweet spots in the offense? What are you going to do with this player? And then have the scouting staff sit there and say, here are the 10 guys that we think do it.
Right.
And then draft one of those 10 guys. If you start to look, if you think Jaden Daniels is so talented that it won't matter, he'll transcend, then fine. But if you feel that he's not that good, then I worry about trying to take a player that isn't a transcendent talent, and now we're putting him in an offense he doesn't belong in, and we're asking a coordinator to coach an offense he's not familiar with coaching. I would much rather take Michael Penix, and because we think he fits what we want to do, than to try to pigeonhole somebody into something that they're not.
Right. And for the individual players other than quarterback, it's not like Amari Cooper or David Njoku have this individual skill set that's impossible to find.
Right.
They're good players. Now, they're high caliber players, but you can get guys that can play the X, like Evan said, or work in tight end and be athletic enough to block in, run. You can find that to fit a system. Like, you don't have to be stuck in a system because you can't get those players that play in that system. There's a lot of players that play in systems like that. Now, the quarterback is different. Like, quarterbacks have different skill sets.
I understand that it sounds great in theory that the offensive coordinator would be able to be fluid, that he could just change.
But that's not how it is.
It's usually not how it is, unless you have a really, really good coach.
I feel like I got a really good beat right now on what you would want to hear. Can we role play this a little bit?
Yes.
Like, I'll play the part of Gerard Mayo.
I'm very excited about this.
Actors workshop here.
A little bit.
Okay.
A little
Fun.
take you
All
behind
right.
the scene. Hold on. Let me
Hollywood douche.
I was just about to say.
And
All right.
I'm Gerard Mayo. Okay, and go.
And scene.
Evan Lazar, please.
Yeah. Gerard, how do the New England Patriots play football under Gerard Mayo?
Oh, well, I appreciate the question, Evan. Obviously, I think I'm pretty happy with what our defense has done over the last couple of years. But I think as the team comes together, we just offensively, the game has evolved. We have to find a way to just be better more explosive. Now, I don't know what that's exactly going to look like right now, Evan, because we're still putting the team together. But my hope is that we can build an offense that's going to take us to the next level. That's what needs to be done here. And I'm not sure exactly how it's going to come about, but that's how we're going to put it together.
And he told you nothing.
See how that's my point. You don't have to say anything.
So that's going to make you feel better?
Yes, but
then you're a fraud. You're a fraud.
I'm a fraud.
You're a fraud.
I'm a fraud.
All you want is a bottle. You're a baby that wants a bottle, a pacifier.
I don't want to hear about
You're
silos and bridges. At least he talked about football.
At least he talked.
Yes, he did.
He might as well have been talking about power.
He said that he was going to get an explosive offense that hunts for big plays.
I disagree that he said nothing. I'm with Evan.
He said nothing.
He talked about the need to get more explosive.
More modern, more explosive. These are visions.
Yeah, no team wants that. Every team wants that.
No, we want we want
the
culture,
previous
Fred.
regime was not
All
interested
right.
in that.
All
Just so
right.
you know.
Now let's go to the actor. What was your goal there?
Oh, my goal was just to, limit Evan's concerns and just to let him know that we have a plan and that, we understand that
Thank
offensively
you.
it just hasn't been good enough around here.
I don't
for a
ask
while.
for much. All right, I'm not asking.
He
I'm
told
not,
you
Was that
nothing.
Steph?
I'm not asking for you to come out with a presentation about what exactly you're going to do this offseason and who you're going to draft and who you're going to sign. I'm not asking for much.
I guarantee-
Just don't sound like a CEO from
all right.
Optum. Sound like a head coach of a football
Why
team.
are you taking shots at our sponsors?
I guarantee once Gerard does his first, real press conference, or at least gets to sit with us, he will say that and more. Yeah.
I hope so, Fred. Please.
We got to get Evan to sit down with him on the board,
Oh, my
and then
God.
Evan will be like, "It's all good.
Oh my
We're
God.
good." That was fun. That was good.
Was that
Good,
a little?
Mike.
Were you
Good, Mike.
method
Was the
acting?
beginning a
Little
little,
bit.
paying homage to Stephanie?
Yeah, that was
Love
Evan
that.
Lazar,
Evan
please.
Lazar, please.
Evan Lazar, Patriots.
then
I missed that.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
The next question will be Evan Lazar.
I don't like silos.
Brenton
dude. I don't
Reno.
like
What's up,
silos.
Brent?
Hey guys, I'm not sure how tall of an order this is, but can you guys run down really quick on the offensive side of the ball which of these guys you'd keep and which ones you'd like to see go? And then I'd like to see Evan's mock draft as well, other than Drake May, and I'll take them offline. Thanks, guys.
Well,
Oh, you're not going to tell us the guys?
Who are the guys?
Who are the guys?
the whole offense.
The whole guys. Like free agents or people that are still there? You left us hanging there, bro.
So what?
Ramondre Stevenson. I'll keep him.
Keep him.
Well, he's under
Keeper.
contract, so yeah.
David Andrews. Keeper.
David Andrews.
I know you've fallen off the Mike and when you
Lowe.
train, but there was a time where everybody in this room was like, "You got to keep Big Mike."
I'm not on that train.
No. Okay.
I'm a big Mike guy still.
All right.
I don't think you absolutely.
I
have
won't be
to,
upset
but-
if they keep him, but,
Pop
but I'm
Douglas?
not on the.
Pop Douglas.
So, I'll take DeMario. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
Kendrick Bourne. Born again.
Now,
comeback player of the year
upgrade.
candidate.
No,
Meh.
upgrade him.
Meh.
Upgrade in free agency. Go get somebody better than him.
Well, you can still. I mean,
Yeah, but you don't need a log jam of dudes. Like.
well,
I don't want all those guys back.
Yeah.
Well, what about just those two, Pop Douglas and Kendrick Bourne?
So now what are you doing with Devontae Parker and Juju Smith-Schuster?
Out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how are you going to get someone to replace them?
You're gonna draft and you're gonna get through free agency.
How do you guys feel
A
about
lot of
Hunter?
money you're wasting on
Well.
the cap that you think is
I
relevant.
know. Well, we're building a new culture here, Paul. We're
We have-
looking
we
to be
have-
explosive.
We have money to burn, which
Yeah,
is
we
the
got money
first
to
thing that he
burn.
said that
Yeah,
I actually
that's-
liked.
I would upgrade that Bourne spot this year. I've said it 100 times. I'm resigned to Parker outside X. I mean, assuming that Van Pelt even plays that way, because
Do you keep Hunter Henry?
I do. For me, he's a priority.
So now you're just running back the same offense.
No, I don't think there's
Right,
any
well,
other
that was the
options.
question.
So now you're
So-
going to stink.
There's no other options.
There
at
are
tight
some
end.
options in free agency
No.
at tight end, like Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, that's a good
Gerald
one.
Everett.
Yep. I like Dalton
I like
Schultz.
Gerald Everett. In
I
this.
love Gerald Everett.
He's never really produced down the field. Like it's all those like scheme
Oh.
Yeah.
touches around the line of scrimmage. But that's this offense. Like if you're
He's
going to
gotta
be
be
running a
old,
lot of
too.
bootlegs
Isn't he
and
old?
stuff like that.
Everett.
I
Seems
like
like he's been
Gerald
around
Everett.
forever.
I'd take him.
Jay's in Defense Intelligence. Thank you for your service. What are your thoughts on the Patriots trading for Fields and then picking up needed help throughout the draft and free agency?
I mean, I wouldn't hate it, but I don't really want it. I'd rather start with someone new and somebody who doesn't already kind of have a bag of, good. I mean, some good things certainly. I mean, we saw him here used to maximum effect. I mean, if you could get Justin Fields 2022 against the Patriots,
That poor game, dude. Just like, remember when he did that to us? Oh my God.
Well, and it was funny because that game sticks out to me so clearly because I remember talking during the week and literally saying, why don't they run him? Why don't they use him like the Ravens used Lamar? And then all of a sudden, surprise, they did, and it was great. And I don't know, what went wrong from there and why they couldn't stack that and build off of that and continue to build that guy.
The Bears and Justin Fields are exactly my concern with the Patriots and Jaden Daniels. Is that if you don't know how to use a guy like that, then you're taking away his superpower.
Sure,
and
it's a waste.
Right, and if he can't play to that strength, then he's not good enough at the other things to make up for it.
Would you know how to use him?
Of course he does.
Just like,
but a guy who's
look
been in
on
the
your
league
face,
for
it's like-
No, but I will say this. Okay, so
what kind of question?
go back to Baltimore when Lamar got there. It was a great fit, even though I don't like this guy as an offensive coordinator, to have Greg Roman, who had experience doing that with San Francisco and Kaepernick, and they brought him in, and that was perfect for Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
Now, I think he outgrew Greg Roman because Greg Roman's not really interested in trying to throw the ball in any kind of a sophisticated manner. They had, by all accounts, some of the most simplistic passing concepts that you can't win with in the NFL. And that's why they made the change, and their offense went to a different level, this year with Monken.
Yeah.
So, to your point, there are different guys that are better suited to use that kind of guy. Now, I think Fields was a lot better this year in the games than he was after that Patriots game last year.
Yeah, that's true. Calvin says, my fear with picking the quarterback is, don't you think all the teams that passed on potential higher ceiling guys like Lamar or Mahomes believe they didn't want them because their choices were better scheme fits? I think the talent upside, high ceiling is more important. Take a shot, go for Daniels. And I hope the presence of McAdoo talks an AVP out of best fit over transcending talent or upside. Well,
I like the theory. I don't know necessarily if it's true with the individuals that we're talking about, but I do like the take a swing. If you think a guy has a higher ceiling, a higher upside, I like that theory.
I agree too.
That's why there's not really any of those guys I feel like later in the draft.
I think
if
people
you don't
are
get
underestimating
one of the first
May's skills.
5 guys.
It shocks me, Paul, that Drake May isn't more universally liked, because the skills that he has are the modern quarterback.
Yeah.
He's 6'5" with a huge arm, with great running skills, with some of that off-script magic. Like he's basically Josh Allen.
Yeah, I think people are so spooked by Trubisky with him.
And people don't see it that way. They see Daniel Jones or Trubisky or something like that.
Yeah.
I thought that Jaden Daniels would be the lightning rod of this draft. I thought that he was going to be the one that everybody was going to say is Justin Fields can only run, that's not good enough as a passer. And instead, it really seems like Drake May is the one that's the unpopular pick.
Trent writes in, I don't understand the Justin Fields interest. He's already proven he's not a franchise quarterback. Why not take a shot on a guy who hasn't failed in the league yet? Even if you don't love a quarterback at the 3rd spot, trade back, draft a quarterback in the 2nd or 3rd round with potential, and see if you can develop him. And, Paul, it's not only that Caleb Williams cried. It's that he cried, paints his nails, has a weird relationship with both his parents, and none of his teammates went to his birthday.
There we go.
I love when the none of his teammates went to his party line comes out for any quarterback.
Great. Again, all of that stuff is worthy of, except for the birthday thing, all that stuff is worthy of being on the evaluation. Absolutely. I just want someone to tell me why they don't like him as a football player.
Tuesday,
because I am with Dane Brugler. I think he's the best football player in the draft.
Me too.
Tuesday, Evan was saying he likes how millennials are the target demo for Super Bowl halftime shows nowadays because growing up he didn't know and had to ask his dad who the performers were. Who didn't you know, Evan? U2, Tom Petty, Paul McCartney, Springsteen? I would say stick to football, but your football takes are just as bad as your music takes.
Wow. Spider, you going to let him talk to you like that?
Wow. See, this show.
Go shine your shoes.
This isn't your catch-22 people. These
let's go home and get your shine box.
True statement. In 2001, I was actually at the Super Bowl 36 with my dad, and did ask him who Paul McCartney was. I was 8. So, that I was very young.
So you know about the Beatles, right?
I do now.
It's Sir.
Audrey says, I'm totally with Evan that the corporate speak is so meaningless and certainly doesn't instill any confidence, but it's only February. And please, 2 words I never want to hear again, collaboration and de facto.
De facto.
Well, I don't mind the de facto, but the collaboration I've had enough of.
Okay. You know what I hate more than collaboration? Collab.
Collab?
We're gonna collab with them. That's another one. That's not so much for the football team. That's more just like
collaborations don't generally work.
We're gonna do a collab with them.
I don't think this is much of a.
Let's go to Todd in North Carolina. What's up, Todd?
Hey guys, I was gonna call in and rattle Evan's cage, but somebody already did that. I was just thinking that Evan, you're a little spoiled. You've been so lucky with the team that you've gotten all the good stuff. You haven't had to live through some of that older stuff, and trust me. You mean when you cheered for the team in the 70s and the 80s, there was spots you could cheer, but there were times when you're like, oh, dear Lord, and you just
Well, we're going through that now.
Well, that's what we're going to go through, and I think that this is the way teams go. They cycle, and I kind of like the fact that Kraft likes who he's got as a coach, and I'm kind of hoping that they work together and they surrounded themselves. And I'm glad that Wolf's there, and I'm glad that there's people there that'll give some guidance and kind of find a direction. And I think that's what we got to wait for. And I know Evans is one of these guys who's got no patience. He wants to see everything now and know what's going
been
on.
5
and I
years,
get it
Todd.
because he's young and there's nothing wrong.
Because he's Gen
you
Z.
kinda
What
have
are you?
to be young
What
guys,
generation?
you
are
know,
you?
take it as
You're a
it goes,
millennial.
and, you know, that's what happens.
They
And
haven't
you
won a
just gotta
playoff
wait
game
for
in
it and
5
see how
years.
it comes out, and you know, be pleasantly surprised if you can be.
I'm
and
not
just
allowed to
wait see
be
what happens.
to want them to be good again.
All right. Now, Todd,
No, you're allowed
you
to
keep
want
them
them to be
straight.
good, but you're not allowed to want them to be, amazing in their first
I didn't say
incarnation
amazing.
because
Yeah,
this is a process, man. and they should have
the
started
problem
this
is we have to
several
do a
years
show
ago.
every day. You know, it's like the Felger and Maz thing.
Thanks,
like
Todd.
you got to do a show. Like we can't wait to see what happens. What will you need us for?
Right. Well,
like I can just tell you what happened. I don't know if you know this, Alex, but the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Did you know that?
She picked them. She knew.
That happened.
She watched the game. She told
Like,
us earlier.
you- the problem was we had to sort of talk about what we think the Patriots are doing.
Right. And this
Before they
snapshot of
actually
right
do
now,
it,
right.
we have to talk about it and sort of give our thoughts and opinions on what we think they're doing.
Right. And overreacting on February 15th.
And
gave us a
overreacting-
great 2 hours.
And overreacting is a huge part of that.
Right.
Johnny in Madtown says, Fred, you should do off-season picks with other sports or maybe even stupid award shows like the Oscars. Low stakes, just for fun. Could be a dumb idea, but I miss hearing we got to hurry on Thursdays. And Alex,
I
you
love
and your
it.
hair look great. Keep being awesome. And I've been to Chapel Hill once. Do I qualify to have an opinion on Drake May?
Yes.
Yes.
On this show, yes.
So now I'm going to come back in 2 weeks because I am going to spend some time in
Oh,
Chapel
you're
Hill, and
gonna
I'm
t-
just going to come back.
You
They
know
were
you-
right.
You know what you should
He stinks.
You should bust out your little poll.
I'm sorry. Leave my little poll alone. But
Take a
what?
little poll down
Little
there
poll?
of what they think are on the campus. You're like, Drake
What
May,
was
yeah,
that?
your nay.
Your portable poll.
Did you see Paul's little poll when he had it back?
Anybody would like it? South Carolina? I'm going there too.
Ryan Atlanta,
I'm not going to
we'll end
Clemson.
with this email. I don't know why these North Carolina people are so down on Drake May. I saw him live versus Georgia Tech, which by my standards makes me an expert in all things Drake May, and I was very impressed with him. He was athletic, ran well, had great accuracy down the field, very active with his teammates on the sideline in terms of motivating, making adjustments, and talking with coaches. Also, in terms of clutch factor, he was leading a game-winning drive until Tez Walker fumbled on the Georgia Tech 25-yard line.
Yeah, he just didn't have it.
I would be thrilled to get him at number 3.
I've seen it since high school, and he stinks.
Yeah, he. Jaden Daniels is coming off a great year, whereas Williams and May are coming off down years compared to the previous year. It was role reversal. It was Daniels was okay, then great, and Williams and May were great, and then okay. So, I don't know if you think that's a trend. I don't know. What do you think, Freddie?
I have no idea. All I
love
know,
when he's not
just
paying
trust the
attention.
film.
All I
Trust the
know is
film.
that that's it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered. Everybody have a good weekend. But before we go, I want to remind everybody that tomorrow the first 2 episodes of Patriots Dynasty drop, and that means so does our first episode of Patriots Dynasty Doc Recap drops. And so we'll be recapping the first 2 episodes from our point of view. I thought it was really good. We recorded it the other day. I think you'll enjoy it. And we'll do that every Friday with the 2 episodes that drop. So that'll be what we'll be doing for the next 5 weeks. So everywhere you get your podcast, look for Patriots Dynasty Doc Recap. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.
The world's original podcast.